All right. So peace, Abaragani, Islam, Salam, Hetepu, Rahubat, Gina Lako Ninani, Chief Noble Bandele El Amin is back in the building. And today we're gonna have a powerhouse show tonight. We got all the Moors in the building. We're gonna be dealing with some definitely some hardcore principles. The title is The Force of Moorish Unity, Knowledge, and Understanding Legal Concepts, Part 1. So that's what we're going to get into today. But before we get into that, let me, first of all, like this video. All right, smash that like button. Please share this video. Share. Okay, and please subscribe to the channel so we can grow our channel, right? So before we get into the show, let me hit y'all with another ad real quick.
Yes, knowledge is for the people. Get your books today on indigenousmoors.org. Your one-stop shop for indigenous needs.
All right. So we back. Y'all check out our books. And so let's get to the show, man. I'm gonna let Brother Abdullah Mosi Bey do the show today. We're gonna deal with the concepts of Moorish unity. So go ahead, my brother. I'm gonna let you introduce everybody in.
Oh man, this is wonderful. And we're going to do is we're going to do the round robin. Our sister Pecola will be on shortly. She'll be on shortly. All right. So once again, the title, The Force of Moorish Unity, Knowledge, and Understanding Legal Principles. So the force of Moorish unity, that is be a very important emphasis of today's presentation and out through the other parts. So it is important to understand. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have our guest give a brief introduction for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I don't have the introductions in front of me in my email, but we'll do right now. Brother Manish will start you off. Give us a 2-minute introduction.
I can't hear you.
Your mic.
We can't hear you.
You're muted.
You're not muted on here though.
You're not muted. All right. Say something. Your sound. You're not muted. It's just your sound is not coming in.
Right.
Okay.
I hear something.
I hear something. Yeah. All right. So your video is off. So is that?
Yeah. Hold on, just a second. Let me.
All right.
That on.
You want? Okay. So before he let well, who else you want to do it real quick?
Brother Shem. Okay. You have to, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Shem Malachi Bey. I'm the Georgia Solicitor General of the Our Apostolic Republic. It's a more provincial government that we got together. Our congregation got together and assembled together to form this government. To bring I got with Professor Abdullah Bey in 2019 to start building, to come back now, start building the old wastelands, the old ruins together, get our stuff together, to get rid of the bad concepts, bring in proper concepts, and bring our people back home to their mother.
All right. Brother Keng.
Yes, everyone. My name is Keng L. Bey. Give you a little introduction and background about myself. I started about 14 years ago doing research on child support. Give you some history and some education. I'm a nurse by profession. I got various certificates. Web page design. I went to Microsoft Word application certificates. I graduated from the Genesis Man Academy. Went to the SICA management for management, a managerial program. So throughout the years, I have always tried to reach a higher level of education. So around 2000, what was that, around 2009. I started, I had a child support situation, child custody, and I didn't know how to deal with it. So I reached out to my brother, my 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 Robin to my Batman, or my Batman to my Robin, whoever you want to decide who is who. Chief Bandele, and we've been working together ever since. He brought me into this more science. I started doing this legal stuff on my own, and then I explored these legal avenues, and I started learning how to learn the concepts of and these rules and principles associated with these legal studies, so I can better understand what to do. So now I'm at a point. Now I created the Moorish Union of Sovereign Tribes, and we're branching out to new things. Um, Also, the Temple of New Kemet. I'm still a part of that. I'm the minister of legal affairs over there. Now I'm the chair with the Moorish Research Investigative Committee, with Brother Abdullah and Shem being I'm the chair and they're being the sponsors. Um, Also, that's just my background. So let you know I've been doing this for a long time.
All right, Manny's, are we good? Yeah, we can't hear you. We can't hear you. Uh, do what you have to do. Then, if you have to turn the video off, then so be it. So we can hear you. We can't hear you.
Nope.
No,
Yeah,
no sound.
Maybe turn the mic off.
Turn the mic off.
I mean, not the mic off, but turn your camera off. Like you
Turn
did
the camera
before.
off. Turn the camera off.
Okay, now there.
Oh, you good, my man. All right, right. All right, there you go. It's your dime.
Okay, I'm Mini Zankiel. I'm the chief representative of the Moorish Republic. I came into this movement in, I can give you an almost exact date, October of 2010. I was hit with a lot of information about nationality and a lot of other information, straw man information, basically. I'm an Air Force veteran. I was a computer operator in the Air Force, computer communications operator in the Air Force. Now I'm a graphic designer. I've been to the U.S. Supreme Court 6 times. Of the 6 times that I've been, I've had, I guess you would call them discussions. They discussed the case or whatever. I've been, my record was, as far as my court record and case record, I learned how to start doing my own pleadings and my own motions in 94. And I beat a lot of cases, helped a lot of people. I'm probably one of the very few people who has actually got something out of the Treasury Direct account or touched it. But I have a case now in the United States District Court, basically against the United States, to prove that I am a U.S. citizen. That's pretty much me in a nutshell. I've been to school for electronics engineering, industrial manufacturing. I used to be a teacher, teaching basic building maintenance, carpentry, electrical, HVAC, and plumbing. That's about it.
All right, Sister Pecola with us. Bandele.
All right, I'll get it myself, y'all. Y'all know me. Y'all know Chief Noble Bandele El Amin, aka Minister Bandele El, part of the Moorish movement since 2001. Um, I am the chief minister over the Moorish Temple in New Kemet, along with King El Bey. Um, I have a degree in criminal justice with a background. I have several hours in background in history and religion. Our goal here at the Moorish Temple in New Kemet is to protect one's rights through their religious pretext. So, that's what we've been doing. We've dealt with a lot of cases, dealing with appeals, dealing with traffic, dealing with criminal, so-called criminal, as we're going to learn. Um, so we've been dealing with a lot of cases, learning how to write motions, writs, um, things of the like, and just learning how to assist the people and help them get things done that they're not able to do. So, I've been, I got a pleasure to get with King a few years ago, and we just been going since. So, you know, appreciate y'all on the platform. Appreciate y'all here.
Islam.
Is Sister Pecola with us?
I don't see her on here yet.
All right, so then I'll go. Because she texted me to send her link again, and I did. Okay. So I thought she would go on. All right, so I'm Abdullah Talib Mosi Bey. Peace, everyone. I have extensive 30 and a half years involvement in this Moorish movement. Non-stop involvement. Been a long journey for me. I've been studying etymology since 1998. Etymology is the history, origin, the true meaning of words. And included my studies and part of my etymological studies includes grammar, vocabulary building, dictionary study skills, also semantics. I've been studying extensive Moorish history. My book, Moors and Masonry Part 1, 20 years of research. Moors and Masonry Part 2 came out in April of 2023. Etymology vocabulary books I put out in 2006. Illuminati and the Illumination of Mind I put out in 2016. And so I met Shem Malachi Bey 20 years ago. And didn't know him that well, we saw him, we've been passing and different events, but hadn't not seen him much, prior to our working together. But so since April of 2019, we have joined forces, to raise the proper understanding, to address misconceptions, and to provide the proper concepts and understanding of this Moorish movement, to bring credibility to this Moorish movement, to bring it into proper focus. It's all over the place. It's everywhere. It's misconceptions everywhere, misconceptions upon misconceptions. So I joined forces with him, and he raised me up in the studies of treaty studies, and taught me how, to enforce treaties, and how to read treaties, and gave me the proper understanding. And so I definitely, and we've been working together. And so we have reached out to quite a few people. Now we have teachers. King El Bey has joined, and Chief Bandele was at the conference with King El Bey. King El Bey was one of the keynote speakers. Sister Pecola Cousar, who may be on right now or should be on shortly. She's been with us for 4.5 years. All right. So is Sister Pecola on now? Bandele.
I don't see her. I don't see her on here yet. So
all right. So let me jump off and see what's going on. All right.
All right, y'all. I see her. There she go. She on that. There you go, sister. I wonder, is it? Hopefully, I can get all y'all on here. don't know how many people can be on this platform at one time. So I mean, usually I've only had 4 people. So, but brother Abdullah just jumped off to check on you. So hopefully he'll be back on.
Yep,
All right,
I'm
put
on.
sister. Well, peace.
Peace.
Peace, sister. Everybody's done a bio of themselves, so I'm gonna let you do a bio of yourself and just tell the people about yourself.
Not much. I am that I am. I'm here, present. Thank you for the invite. It'll be brief with me. Um, my appellation is Pecola Cousar. I hail from the territory of Baldwin, Idlewild, Michigan. Um, Background for me, got college education, higher education in management. Although I don't work in management in surgery, I do work. I've been in the field about 25 years, various occupations within organizations. I'm ex-military, got quite a bit of leadership there through the years. Got some overseas travel, 11, 12 countries that I've traveled to broaden my mind and my eyes. Came into the Moorish movement approximately 8 years ago due to a failed court case and also the dissolution, if you will, of an attorney that wanted to get paid and I couldn't further pay him. So I came into the status of pro se and began learning birthright nationality. I have since 1983 thereabout been doing genealogy. Background for me is, we call it indigenous now. Way back in the day, my parents and mother's Cherokee, your father's Black. So now we know what that is, through understanding and study. So what I hope to achieve in this Moorish movement is I've been coming into the knowledge of the role, the significant role of the matriarch is very disheartening of what I've been.
Could you speak up,
learning.
sister?
Your volume's low, Pecola. Your volume's low. Can't hear. Yeah, somebody just put in the chat.
Did you? Let me try to come a little bit closer. So anyway, in a nutshell, I am here. I'm present in every way possible to illuminate the significant role of the matriarch that has been overlooked in just somewhat of an exchange oppression. Let's just say that. And so I'd like to see this movement move effectively, not just in theory, but in actuality. And I would like to see that those people, like the military used to say, stay in your lane, get in your lane. Because if you're in your lane, I'm able to be in my lane. So I'd like to see this growth, and I would like to see the balance better with the representation of the matriarch and the board. So with that, thank you again. I'm Pecola Cousar, Islam.
All right. Can y'all hear me? All right, good. All right, so we've done the introduction. King, put your video back on when you can. All right, so we're going to get right to it. Once again, for those who just joined us, please subscribe to this page, hit the like button, hit that notification bell. All right. Thank y'all for joining us. Once again, today's title, The Force of Moorish Unity, Knowledge, and Understanding Legal Concepts. And it's important that we, in order to effectuate unity among our people, education is paramount. Without education, and that is the proper concepts, it cannot be facilitated. We have formed the Moroccan Post School of Government and International Law. And it's important and so we know that Shem and I know that education is very important. Terrence, myself, and Shem are the co-founders of the school. And we have other teachers. Brother Keng is one of our teachers. Sister Pecola. We have others who have studied and actually have their own study group. Brother Kono Sankofa Bey, Brother Quasi Ill, who both have study groups. And so we have branched out. Brother Vicarious Ill, who has a strong link and connections out in Phoenix. And so we have others who have branched out and continue to study and grow, and it's continue to grow. So education is paramount. And so this is why we've developed curriculum and continue to develop curriculum and have the educational classes, because unity cannot be facilitated without education. We're looking at the restoring. So what I'm going to do in facilitating this is, Sister Pecola, I want you to address the importance of restoring the matriarchal principles in the minds of our women, our men and women, as that has been suppressed, and the connection of the matriarchal principles to nationhood.
Interesting. I will give just a brief, as the time is a little short for me. I'll start with the Iroquois Confederation, the Haudenosaunee. I'll start with that because that is the treaty or the agreement that is on this land that you would call America, which is the collapse of Moroccan Empire. In the Iroquois Confederation, which was made up of several of the tribes at that time, and due to foreign invasion on the land, they began getting themselves together, because obviously there have been some breakup amongst them, or some warring amongst them. So for political reasons, economic reasons, and for defense, they got themselves together. They call it the Iroquois Confederation. It's known as the Haudenosaunee. That's what they call themselves, and it was made out of several tribes. In that particular document, and you can actually, it is available. You can Google it online.
Sister Pecola, you have to put the phone close to your face. Pick your phone up. Just pick the phone up and hold it closer to your face.
Okay.
Get the sound.
Can you hear me a little bit now?
They say, I know you might have to pick the phone up and hold it closer to your face.
Okay, hold on a second. Can you hear me now?
It's not. It's people are texting in, chatting that you are still very low.
Okay, I'll do something. Give me a moment. Can I continue talking for those who can hear me?
All right. So Sister Pecola, as she mentioned, she's breaking down the Iroquois Haudenosaunee Constitution, and in the Haudenosaunee Constitution, Articles 44 to Articles 54 are the principles of the ancient matrilineal principles, where the wealth titles passed down to the motherline of the family. She's going to tie that in, and as a foundation, that is actually an ancient principle. So she'll get as she continue. You ready, Sister Pecola?
Yeah, I'm only having one device. Are you able to hear me? I'm gonna try and change over, but
Why don't you try to change over?
Send me, just please, just send me the link again. Just send it to my email.
It's in your email twice. You don't see it?
Again, due to time, I'm asking you, just send it to me again.
All right, I got to get off. All right, Bandele, take over.
So if you're able, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, he just jumped off to send you the link again.
How's my volume now?
You're still real low. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna let you get situated, Pete. So we're gonna still get in the building.
What about now?
It's a little bit better. What y'all think?
I can hear.
I mean, I can hear her. So go ahead. Just go ahead and
Am I talking
continue
too
what you was.
fast?
It's not. No, it's just low. I think you're outside. I don't know if it's just, but it's just people in the chat that's saying that you're low.
Okay,
So it's
sorry.
okay though.
Apologies for that. As I was saying, is that the purpose for organizing, and we're talking about following the ancestral practices on this particular land, which many people know to be Amaruka, Al-Marak, America, but was called Morocco. So, being that we know based upon documentary evidence what this land is, based upon treaties dealing with the colonial powers of the United States of America, getting the contract through the Moroccan Empire. So, we know this. So, at this time, around the 1700s, those ancestors had to get together and resources and economics and in governance. And of all the tribes, they all agreed that the matriarch was to be the progenitors, the owners of the land, the soil, and the clan mothers are to be in charge on the land, as well as a fire council. So what I did is that, as brother stated, if you go to Article 44, if you go to start Article 44 of this Constitution agreement, you will find that they all agreed. And I even went back to the Powhatan and the Anishinaabe, which are also tribes that were here around the 1600s. They also had a matriarch leadership. So, and then again, if we talk about history in general, the land and territory that you're on is always called motherland. So, the role of the woman, if you start doing a little bit more research, and thanks to Vicky Dillard and others who started to illuminate this, that the places had been changed in time. The information even within your Bibles have been changed and were matriarch in principle. So the thing is that we've got a lot of changing places here, and we're at a point, a critical point, where we need political unity. We need political unity, and we need respect of the roles in which people have played. And we need to, again, as I mentioned before, get in your lane, stay in your lane, and we can achieve the balance that is needed. Now, why is it important? Because government, we have to have government for the people. The leaders or people that want to be leaders, so-called leaders that have stepped up to learn this knowledge, we have to have it in balance and control, minus the ego, because that has caused many wars. So, what I say, for me, I'd like to contribute is to still be part of the dynamic group that I've been associated with over the last couple of years, and to help restructure the government. We are, as most people know, if you do not know and you're the listening audience, we are activating the Shem Malachi Bey plan, which happens to be the route in which we have to take as a nation in order to restore ourselves back to the international community in our rightful place. Because at this point, we're known as Black, Colored, Negro, African Americans, and this is
Yeah.
inaccurate for a people that was a proud people. So, again, the role of the matriarch is important because it's primordial to the origin of our ancestors. And if we are to respect our ancestors, we must respect the role of the woman, and that is what I have to say as input. There will be more classes that and studies in which I'm doing to further illuminate the role that has changed. I read something today from what is her name, Mama Woti. She's the author of the book called The Sibyls, and she went into describing how before we can talk about colonial anything, we have to look at the fact that we had our brothers that subdued the matriarch first. So I bring that out because it's so important that in many organizations that I've been associated with, these organizations are full of men and there's a small number of women. And so we have to ask ourselves, why is that? We have to bring the knowledge of the women up, number one. And number two, we got to leave a space so that she could be in that space. But if you fill the space, then there won't be a place for the woman. So I think we need to, again, just kind of look at some things. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to be on the platform. I'm very sorry I'm talking fast, but the role of the woman is important, primordial to government, primordial to the education. The mother is the progenitor. Along with the patriarch, the progenitor of life. There's a lot of questions behind that. Scientifically, almost a question of who came first, the chicken or the egg kind of concept. And if the woman was self-sufficient. So there's many things that are out there to discuss. At this time, we are in a somewhat of they call it a quiet war. We're in a quiet war. And our objective is to pull the people together with your various talents so that we can build and move forward with presenting our issues to the United Nations, depositing it, who we are as a people, a unified people with one nationality, and being able to address this in the International Court of Justice or the International Criminal Court for human rights offenses, for subduing a people, for collapsing an empire, and for subduing our rights as who we are, and our resources, because obviously through occupation, colonial occupation, you do not have your resources, and you don't have the ear and the way to reach your people. Right now we're struggling, especially we know that the rights of indigenous people was signed several years back, and the indigenous people have a right to their land, their resources, their nationality, and at this point we're still in the belly of colonialism, and so therefore you would not see them put this information on the television or anything. And so we have to educate our people, and this is very important. And I get it that our people have to eat. Someone said to me, what is nationality going to do for me? Like right now, my baby is being snatched up by the system, or my husband's in jail, or this, that, and the other. These are the direct effects of colonialism. When you have someone occupying your land, they don't care for you, nor do they care for your kind. And so their rules are always going to be against you. And not only that, our doors are open. We're a proud nation. Our doors are open to every nationality on the planet. And just like you cannot have me go to China and be in Chinese government, you cannot have me go in Afghanistan and be in their government. Why on earth is that happening in this proud land? How is that happening in our motherland? So we got work to do. I'm ready. I'm a soldier when it comes down to doing what I do. I will be there working with the brothers, not against the brothers. I say to people, I've got father and grandfather and ex-husbands and everyone, and I respect the men and the role that the men have played in my life. But at this point, we need to reobserve. We need to observe again the roles in which we are all playing so that we can do this together. Thanks for your time. Again, I apologize for talking so fast, but putting the matriarch back in place will indelibly help with the structure of government. I yield.
All right, come back when you get, when you get dressed, come back. Once you get dressed, you come back on when you can. All right.
Peace.
Peace.
All right, so Shem, you're gonna go next because she mentioned the plan. She mentioned your plan. So since she mentioned your plan, it's just logical that you go next. All right, before you go, Shem, let me do some reading. All right, we had the Moorish Governance, Birthright, and Nationality Claim Conference here in Philadelphia on May 18th, all right, of this year. The Moorish Governance, Birthright, and Nationality Claim Conference, a political mechanism of restoring the domestic and international politics to protect and secure the common good of our people, the Moors, those who are conscious and unconscious, classified as Negro, colored, Black, and African American, to serve as the caretaker and voice for them among the family and nations. The national political unity among the various Moorish body politic, Moorish Intergovernmental Alliance, and Central Moorish Imperial Parliament Council, facilitating international representation and an international voice for our people in a provisional temporary capacity. adhering to the principles of self-determination, political legitimacy, the will of the people, and the consent of the people. So we must show ourselves approved. Knowledge, education is paramount. Our people are not going to acknowledge fools. Bumbling, fumbling fools. Knowledge, studying is very important. The world is not going to acknowledge bumbling, fumbling fools. I have to present it like this. Go ahead, Shem.
Yes, I appreciate you, Professor Abdullah. Sometimes we have to come around this in a psychology way, because we deal with concepts of the mind, we deal with ideology and systems of mind thinking. There's one thing we have to deal with. Everybody's not the same level of thinking. So get back to Cole is right. The matriarch principle for must respect bio, nature, Gaia, the planet Earth, the land, wisdom, knowledge, concepts. All this is your mother. Yes, hear me out. Wisdom, philosophy, and knowledge, education is your mother, because that nourishes you. It makes you grow. It makes you incline. It makes you grow and carry not only physically, it grows mentally. The inward part of you, it grows. It's mature. So what we have is too much masculine. What you mean, Shem? Everybody wants to come up with a school of thought and control everything. Be a master, be a lord, and not just be a simple servant. And say, I serve that my mother taught me this information. So if you're a Moor, Gaia is your mother. So when you understand what Moor is bio. Come on now, Moors, understand. A Moor creative eventual government got a political status by the name of the government where it's domicile at, the territory, the political structure. That's a citizenship right there. That's a political citizenship. It's a political identity. But a Moor's consequently is bio. It's on the earth and Gaia, your mother. So what happens is the Europeans cut us away from the core of our mother. How they do this? Because it's staying ancient law culture that if a child don't have a mother and father, the child's a bastard. Now, in ancient culture, go back to Egypt, Syria, Israel, all these ancient nations. If you don't have a mother and father, you're a bastard. And a bastard cannot inherit any heritage of the land. So by being called black, Afro-American, Negro color, you don't have a heritage because you're considered a bastard. You don't have a mother. You don't have a mother that you tied to, or father, masculine. You have none of that. That's why it's very important. Psychology is understanding what they did to us, psychology-wise. How we can restore this back by going back to our mother, wisdom, knowledge, philosophies. That's your mother. Go back to your mother. That's the first form of your mother. The philosophy, knowledge, concepts, norms, that's your mother. That's the thing that's gonna nourish you. They'll make you grow intellectually. It's gonna make you grow. So when we honor that principle first, we start by honoring that principle. That number one principle has to be honored. Has to respect nature. That's your mother. You must respect these principles if you want to survive. Now, me and Professor Abdullah got together years ago talking about trading concepts. And one thing I love about Professor Abdullah, if he says something wrong, he's going to jump at you. He's right. He's right to be that way. Because a little leaven will unleaven a whole lump. If you too much flavor into a recipe, a mixture, you mess it up. It's no more good. So if you get one concept wrong, when you're doing the Moors right, because it's so messed up real bad, you don't screw everything up with them. So the first thing is this, understanding the condition of the Moors, how he think, or she think. Do a man really understand the role of a woman? Do a woman understand her role in his world? Looking back, not what you think now, look back at the ancient cultures, look at yourself, and apply yourself to ancient people there, how they live. Remember this old saying, The house of so-and-so. The house. That's how nations first describe a house. A house. Why? Because the matriarch and the masculine, a male and female. That's what's called a house. Because from them come a whole host of nations and people. So we must understand that we take for granted our mistakes. Our people, we do. We love too easy. I'm sorry to say. We love too fast, and we don't want to forgive our people. But we're gonna forgive everybody that did everything wrong to us. And we so quick to love and not know we love. We fall in love with a lover that don't care about us. And now when somebody bring a concept, a wrong concept coming from a person, whether male or female, woman or man, we get feelings because we start liking the person, the person or the party that's bringing real life. The man or woman that's bringing information, we start liking them. Now looking to the mother, the information. Okay, let's see what our mother got to say. What you mean, Shem? That's a man. No, hear me out. That's a man speaking wisdom, knowledge, and philosophy. That's a woman. That's feminine. That's a woman. Yes. That's your mother. Information, wisdom, education, proper concepts, philosophy, ideology. That's your mother. Get ready to hear it because you need your mother to grow. Nobody's gonna grow without their mother. I'm gonna give an analogy. If a man is in the belly of his mother, he's being nourished by her biblical cord. So when the wisdom is like a biblical cord feeding you, the ethers, wind, oxygen, carbon through a man or woman, education, philosophy. That's your mother. That's the first thing you need. Show me a child that come out of the mother womb that start understanding the mother for what? Wisdom. She first start communicating with the child through sound, which is called language. Then when the child gets a certain age, they start doing symbols, marking, carbons, drawings. The sound of the voice start being put down on paper as a carbon. That's wisdom, knowledge, information. That's your mother. That's not a child grow intellectually. Then the child's eating food.
Shem, let me get into the plan. People say we'll come back to you. We'll come back to you, brother Meanies. All right. Once again, for those who are just joining us, welcome. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hit the notification. All right. This is NewKemit TV. We thank you, appreciate for joining us. Once again, the title is The Force of Moorish Unity, Knowledge, and the Understanding Legal Concepts. Brother Menes, you up. We can't hear you.
Okay. You mute.
Yeah.
No, he's not muted.
You mute.
Now it's muted. Now it's
You mute. Go ahead.
Say something. He's good. All right.
Okay. In my experience in this movement, I was initially drawn to nationality. That was the first thing that I was drawn to, because I didn't understand the concept of black, but I knew something wasn't right. And this is just from listening to news like the BBC, and they always refer to people by their nationality. So I knew something wasn't right. Then 2010, I learned about this nationality and commerce. Both nationality uses a different type of law than commerce. And what I tell people who try to use the commercial tactics with the straw man and the accept for values and all of that. Nationality controls commerce. Commerce does not control nationality. Nationality controls commerce. And what's going on with the level that everyone is trying to do the commerce and all of this on is going on a lower level. It's not an international level. The system that everybody is moving around in with the trusts and the 501c3s and all that, this is still within the United States structure. basically it's still within their jurisdictional structure, because most of the things that people are creating, like the trusts and all of those things, they are made using tax ID numbers. And when you apply for a tax ID number, when you get a tax ID number, you actually create a U.S. citizen. You literally create a U.S. citizen with the name of whatever business that you got that tax ID number from the IRS. As it pertains to nationality, that moves on a whole different level, and that's international law basically. And in order to move in international law, you have to have a certain level of organization. Basically, because for the most part, international law only recognize nations per se. Our situation, the situation that we're in now, and have been since probably 1928, 29, when Prophet Noble Ali passed, the situation that we're in now is what I'm seeing, and this is studying the history of the movement. The international aspect of the movement, the national aspect of the movement, has been lost. So when Noble Ali got the mandate for the land, after that he passed, and no one knew the next step. Well, what we are being viewed as by the United States is really a bunch of black people who are calling themselves Moors. One reason for that is we have no organization, and for the most part, what I'm seeing is no one wants to step down from a leadership position in their organization. The Moorish, okay, let me say it like this: the Moorish Republic moves strictly on international law. That's all we move on, and international law is, for the most part, based on treaties. The treaties that we don't use the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I'll say that we use the human rights treaties that the United States has currently is a signatory to and has ratified. So the way we're moving is based on citizen. Okay, the United States doesn't have a nationality. It has a citizenship status, but it doesn't have a nationality because it is foreign to these lands. Their nationality is European, of European lineage. So when you move as a nation separate from this nation, it you can enforce those treaties instead of, because okay, and as a nation, when I say move as a nation, I'm talking about a nation, how it is defined under international law, under international standards and traditions and culture. A nation is defined as you have to have four things. You have to have a flag, that's the main thing. You have to have a constitution, a constitutional government, or a constitution that is set for the running of a government. And you have to have a territory, which the Moorish Republic's territory is everything between Canada and Mexico. That's the territory that we claim. And you have to have a people. Those are the four things that are required under international law to be considered a nation. The in order, in studying the United States connection with the United Nations, I found some human rights reports, one from 2016 and one from 2022, where basically the United States says that the human rights treaties are non-self-executing. They're non-self-executing. What that means is basically it's up to us to enforce the treaties. But in order to enforce the treaties, we have to come in the right manner. We have to come as a nation, not as a 501c3 company, not as a religious organization, not as any of these groups. We have to come according to international law. And so what's happening is, and like I stated earlier, I have a case right now, Menizankel versus the United States of America, formerly known as the United States in Congress Assembled. And in that case, I'm not asking for anything. I don't want any land. I don't want any money. I'm not asking for any of that. I'm asking for what's called a declaratory judgment, basically stating that I'm not a U.S. citizen. Now, that case was filed on July the 8th. To date, they haven't made a move on it. They haven't done anything on it. Whereas normally within the first week or two, they'd have had all kind of orders trying to dismiss the case. So the 1915 screening, that's what any pro se filer in the federal courts has to go through, is a 1915 screening, whether you pay the fee or not. And in that screening, it's basically the judges approving your case to go ahead. Oh, okay, they're gonna screen your case and say, okay, this case makes sense, so it can go ahead. Well, what happens is they become gatekeepers to things that they don't want. They don't become, they are the gatekeepers to things that they don't want in law. Part of my background is in 2012, I was sent to prison for literally suing the police. They said that I financially intimidated the police. And I ended up doing 5 years on a 4-year sentence because they were mad because basically my whole argument was subject matter jurisdiction, as well as, again, I'm one of the probably few people who has actually touched the Treasury direct account and paid bills, have receipts, and have witnesses. But what happens is basically anything that they don't want to get out in the courts, they change the narrative in their court orders, because this is the thing about reading court judgments. When you read a court judgment, you only get to hear what the judges want you to hear, or their so-called opinion. However, if you ever get access to what was actually filed by the Moor or the pro se complaint, you'll find that the judges aren't even talking about the issue at hand. Like, for example, if you look up my cases, they'll come with, the United States, there's a few times it said the United States does not recognize Moorish nationality. I found a few cases like that. And in a sense, that's what I'm using in my cases, because that's denationalization. under the human rights treaties. And anytime you get a case, and I know there are several brothers down through the decades, I've read too many cases where they've ignored the issues to just stick on the nationality. The United States doesn't recognize Moorish nationality, and I have a case also where they say all the courts have come to an agreement that any use of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship in any filings will be looked at and found frivolous and dismissed. I actually have the case on that, and I'm paraphrasing, but that's in a nutshell, that's what it says. So that's where a lot of misconceptions get caught up on that aspect of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. So what we're doing is disconnecting from all that. We're still standing on the foundation that Noble Jew Ali built. Our flag is the original white Moroccan flag, which it was changed to red in defense of their principles during the Muslim invasions, with the Arab invasions, the Arab invasions, which was the spreading of the Orthodox Islam. But what is going on internationally is, for the most part, everyone knows who we are. That was seen in Obama's election. You've never seen the world that happy over a U.S. presidential election. First black man, quote unquote, to be elected. So the world was happy, and everybody was happy for that, because they probably thought we finally woke up. They probably thought we finally woke up. As we all know, that is not the case. But concepts and principles of international law demand that we step out of. Oh, okay. Let me put it to you like this, and this is connected to some of what the sister was talking about when she talked about the Iroquois Confederation. Okay. I have the congressional records. They're actually on my website, which I had to bring back up because somehow it was oddly taken offline by someone at the hosting service, but it's back up now. It's the MoorishRepublic.com. But we have the congressional records where they say that the Iroquois Confederation, they don't say the Iroquois Confederation at first. In the 1909 version, they don't give the name. But they say, paraphrasing, the Negroes ordained the Constitution. The Negroes were the original sovereign people. And we basically set ordained is the word that they used. We ordained and established the Constitution, and it says something to the effect of we the people in the Constitution applies to basically a people of a different nationality. That's what they say. And then later on, they say it was the Negroes who were later enslaved. So they say in us doing that for them, or ordaining the Constitution for them, we, I don't want to say reestablished, but reaffirmed our separateness from them. There are two nations on one land. They were allowed to come here. They enslaved us, ran wild, and this is where we are now. But in that 250 years of enslavement, most of 99% of us, our people, forgot who we were because we were being shipped back and forth. Slavery just didn't come from the east to the west. It also went from the west to the east. So with all that mix, it went from the south to the north and to the north to the south. By the way, no slaves ever came directly here from Africa. None. Only about 388,000 came here directly from Africa. The main slave trading was down in the Caribbean, and then they were bought this way. But
about a minute. You got 2 minutes.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Basically, I'm gonna stop with this. The reason that we haven't gone anywhere is because since about 1990, our people got caught up on the sovereign citizen movement, the straw man, the birth certificate, and all of that. That is a system that we have never been a part of. We're not even in that thing. This was for the state citizens. They started the straw man movement or the sovereign citizen movement. Right now, in trying to follow that concept, we are spinning our wheels. We need to look from that. Stop looking at commerce and look at international law and treaties. That's what the Moorish Republic is doing. I also have a book that breaks this down. It's called The Apocalypse of a Moor. It's called the Spellbreaker edition because it lays down all the cases, all the records, all the everything to clear up all of the misconceptions. It is an apocalypse or a revealing or revelation. That's what the definition of apocalypse means. But with that, I yield and go get the book. You'll find it very interesting.
Brother King. All right, before you get on, Brother King, I'm going to read some points, and I want you to elaborate. Once again, those who are just joining us, thank you. Hit the like button, the notification, and subscribe. Once again, the title of today's presentation, The Force of Moorish Unity, Knowledge, and Understanding, Legal Concepts, Part 1. All right. I'm going to mention a few titles here and want King to elaborate. The legal principles, the building blocks of a constitution. Legal principles, the building blocks of a legal system. Legal principles as the DNA of a legal system, preparing the Moors for self-determination and self-government. The people are the carpenters and must be given the proper tools to build government. Preparing Moors for self-determination and self-government by teaching legal principles and jurisprudence, which is legal philosophy and legal theory. Restoring the rule of law and good government for the Moors through the teachings of legal principles. All right, so Brother King.
Okay, so when you understand legal principles, this is the guideline, this is the compass that shapes government, shape legal philosophy, and produce good citizens and good government. Without these legal principles, you will have chaos and you will have tyranny, because without these ancient legal principles, these are nothing new. It's just passed down over time, and it has evolved into a better systematic product that turns itself into government. So without these legal principles, you will pretty much have no government. So why am I talking about legal principles? Because it's the foundation of everything. It's the foundation that the legal system sits. It spills over into every facet, from the legal into the political side, right? Let me break it down for you and show you. So, when you talk about legal principles, right, these principles were shaped by legal philosophy through what? Society norms. What they did was they seen a pattern in which they seen how society thrived in this best possible form. And they say, okay, these principles should be applied based on what they observed over time. So over time, the ancient ones, they started to see through observation and constructed these legal principles to be our guideline. So even Jesus said we walk by faith and not by sight. What did he mean? Based on principle. He's saying we live according to these principles. This is what shaped you. This is who forms you. As Shem was saying, and I'm going to tie it back to Shem and the brother as it relates to wisdom and knowledge. Your mama was raised right, so she raised you right. These are principles. So the principles deal in not just the application of law, the source of law, the not only the source, but it's the source, application, um, um, findings of facts, um, conclusion of law. All of these things are rooted in legal principles and and these concepts. What you see when you see government institutions and agencies, these are components of the legal system. So you got principles, right? You say, what kind of government we're going to form? And you say, well, republic. So a republic has certain elements in it and is rooted in a certain ideology and principle. Then if you look at the principles, right? So you'll look under the rule of law. The rule of law is a set of principles that shape the government.
Affidavits by
And
themselves don't.
somebody in the background.
Continue. We got it.
So what people need to understand, right? When you understand the principles of law and how they interact with everything, because it's the DNA. It came from the philosophy and then it went into a manifestation of government because now you can see these legal principles and how they're working in every component. Because law is broken down into various stages and it systematically operates. So without this, you wouldn't have the structure, you wouldn't know how to think proper, and this is what judges use to decide your case. So if you don't know anything else, you should want to learn with these legal principles. If you start with these legal principles, they will not fail you. They will not fail you. They will guide you all the way through. You'll be able to analyze cases. You will be able to see if you got good government or not based on the ideology and the pretext in which the government behave and think. Without these legal principles, you don't know. You will believe what you see. That's why it's very important to understand these legal principles so that you do not lose your way under the foundation of government. If you don't understand legal principles, right, you will get lost. Government can pull a wool over your eyes. When you learn legal principles, you will know how to deal with the court procedurally. You will be what they call procedurally sound when you enter the courtroom. You will know if you're in the proper venue. You will know how to deal with that. You will know how to deal with due process. You will understand that the Constitution itself is rooted in these legal principles. You wouldn't have to guess at things. You would know how to properly argue your case. And you can see through the rule out process where the court erred. You will be able to constructively break down everything that you see and how the court is moving. You will literally become Neo in the Matrix. You will know.
Hey, Brother King, I'm going to read the rule of law definition. The World Justice Project definition of the rule of law is based on 4 universal principles. 1, accountability. 2, just laws. 3, open government. 4, accessible and impartial dispute resolution. Core principles of the rule of law. 1, superiority of the law. 2, separation of powers. 3, known and predictable. 4, equal application. 5, just laws. 6, robust and accessible enforcement. 7, independent judiciary. 8, right to participate. Additional principles that might be added to the definition of the rule of law. A, protection of persons and property. B, understandable by ordinary persons. C, resolving disputes without excessive cost and delay. D, independent legal profession. E, emerging international rule of law. All right. I'll continue, King, and elaborate on those. Continue. I just wanted to give people some. This is dealing with the rule of law is one of the primary legal principles. Before King can explain, I'm going to explain the difference. All right. So when a legal system, there are 5 major legal systems in the world: common law legal system, civil law legal system, customary law legal system, religious legal system, and mixed legal system. So when we say legal system, court is not a legal system. Court is a component of a legal system. So I had to articulate that because when people legal system, the legal system, court, the legal system, court, the legal system. No, that's improper. It's improper. Once again, courts, that's not a legal system. Once again, there's 5 major legal systems. Courts are a component of a legal system. Court is not a legal system. So if you identify court as a legal system, you get an F. What? Identify the legal systems. Court. Identify the legal systems. Common law, civil law, mixed, customary, religious. Court is not a legal system. It's a component of a legal system. Continue, King.
So as I build what Abdullah states, so you got various components in this legal system. So the government itself is just a component of that legal system. And based on its structure, right, in the formation, right, they came up and said, this is the type of government we're going to form, right? A republic. The United States is a republic. What is the principle and elements behind a republic? You got to understand that. These people supposed to represent the people. The people supposed to be the sovereigns, and the government is supposed to be subjected to the people. The people supposed to elect them to represent them in their interests, not vice versa, that we represent government in their interests. This is the principle. Everything is rooted in the principles. And when you know the principles, you can weigh everything and measure it, because principles are what? Are decided by the elements. The elements is the DNA of the principle. What do y'all mean, King Bey? What do you mean? In order for a principle to be applied and to measure under the operation of law, you look at the elements and you rule it out. And if those elements do not exist, then that principle cannot be laid down. This is why the United States telling you all the time they are a democracy, because they're not operating as a republic, because the principle of the republic means you are the sovereign and they represent your interests and they must protect your best interests. But they're not. They say they're a democracy. A democracy is where the majority or mob rules. The majority rules based on a democratic form of government. When you don't understand these principles, you get lost. You say things that based in misconceptions. You phrase pseudo-law terms that doesn't have any basis in law. So you don't have no legal standing. But when you stay with the principles, it keep you on track. It keep you having legal standing. It keep you moving. You understand how government is supposed to work. The functionality, because now you can put everything in place. You can say systems check. Let's see if government is operating right. System check, okay, under the category of law, based on the application, there is a set of principles that governs within, that lies within the application that's under this particular category of law. So now we can do a system check. Operation of law check, application of law check, right? Source of law check, rule of law check. Now you can see if everything is put in place and sound and direct. Law is put in different categories for a reason.
Hold on. Shem Malachi Bey, mute your mic. Mute your mic, Shem, or Menace. Mute your mic, please. Right, King?
So when you understand this category of law, dealing with the source of law, now you can start looking at, okay, under these categories, what is we looking at under testate law? That's dealing with law of inheritance. There's a set of principles. Real estate law, there's a set of principles based on that category. Then you have to find the proper application that align with what you're trying to seek relief. Understanding the principle associated with everything you're doing. Then let's go to family law. That's another set of private law dealing in fundamental rights based on principle. Fundamental rights is principles. Now we got to look, is you coming under a what? Because United States is a what? A two-tier system. What do you mean? It's a common law and a civil law system. Combined, it's a mixed system. How do I know that? They got statutory law. Statutory law is birthed out of Roman civil law. And they tell you, right? And when every time the Supreme Court goes into session, what do they tell you? We shall keep the laws of the common law of England. So they're operating in a two-tier system. But if you don't understand these things, you don't understand that it's a mixed government founded on a particular set of principles, dealing with a particular set of form of government that's rooted in principles, right? You won't know how to weigh your case and weigh the operation of government. You cannot challenge government based on sound application, based on injury, tort actions. You won't be able to know because you're not rooted in the principle. You don't understand the principle of government, so you won't know what to do. Even to have political legitimacy is rooted on some criteria rooted in principle. The UN do not make you sovereign. What makes you sovereign is your knowledge of understanding these legal concepts and principles so that you can operate and check off the elements necessary to be recognized. Let me say this to you again. Having political legitimacy has nothing to do with the UN. It's based on knowledge. I'm going to say this, knowledge of understanding international legal principles to be able to check off the elements that must exist in order to be recognized and being politically legitimate. If you don't have the knowledge to understand how to check them boxes off, and they're going to fact check using what they call findings of facts to determine if you're politically sound or not. And if you're not, they're going to be able to see the elements in which you did not reach. And if you don't have enough studies to show where you met and where you sound, where if they try to deny you, you can then challenge what they use to say you're not politically legit or sound. Now you can go to the international court and raise issues on being denied of a fundamental right, challenging their understanding of what it is, because you have met everything. But if you don't know the legal principles, you can't do none of that. You see the legal principles and understanding the knowledge, how sound you must be rooted in this information to even get government off the ground, let run government. Most of y'all are losing y'all cases because you are not rooted in principles. You don't know the principles that guide everything. So you make frivolous arguments based on concepts instead of even going back to the original to understand if government is operating in its proper form.
Hold on, King, because we have people. We got some misconceptions going on in the chat here. All right, so let me do some review because I see some misconceptions. All right, King is talking worldwide. This is worldwide. Just hear me out. This is worldwide. If he's with England, he can say the same thing. If King was in China, he could say the same thing. If King was in France, he could say the same thing. If King was in South Africa, he could say the same thing. This can be broadcast to South Africa. This could be broadcast to France, China, England, Germany, Australia. He's talking universal. Let me just provide some clarity, King. I got to provide clarity. All right. Once again, there's 5 major legal systems in the world. Common law legal system, civil law legal system, mixed legal system that's mixed with civil and common law, religious laws legal system, and customary law legal system. Mohammedan law is a religious legal system. All right. You have political system and legal system. They're not, let me explain. So I gave you 5 major legal systems. Let's talk about some political systems. Republic is a political system. Totalitarian is a legal system. Monarchy, political system. Monarchy is a political system. Republic democracy is a political system. Absolute monarch, a political system. Constitutional monarch, a political system. All right, please look this up, y'all. Legal systems, political systems. Look this up so you don't have to say Abdullah said anything. Political systems in the world. Look that up. Legal systems in the world. You want to see what I'm telling you. You need to know the difference between a legal system and a political system. So first, you have a political system. A legal system is decided. What legal system will we use? Because there are a set of principles. And then there's also universality among all the 5 legal systems. So King is talking about the universality. And so he's not specifying. He's talking in a principle sense of being general. I mean, he's being specific in certain areas. All right, so legal system and political systems. Legal systems, so we have legal systems, we have political systems. So you have, so the legal system, United States legal system is of mix, common law and civil law. All right, common law, judge-made law, precedents. Civil, the civil law aspect is the statutory law. All right. The political system, a republican form of government by constitution, by constitutional sanction, United States is a republic form of government. That is the political system. That's not the legal system. That's the political system. The legal system is a mix, common law and civil law. All right. So with this we have to come to understand this to form Moorish government, to draft. I asked King today. I said, King, do all attorneys know? Can all attorneys draft the Constitution? He said, no. All right. So we're not. This is not taught in law school. This is what? This is jurisprudence. This is jurisprudence. King is talking jurisprudence, which is legal philosophy. This is not taught in law school. This is a higher level of education than what's taught in law school. So because somebody is an attorney doesn't mean they know this, because it's not taught there. This is jurisprudence, legal philosophy / legal theory. This is not law school. Just want to clear that up. So you may know attorneys, you're going to be teaching them. So if you bump into attorneys, teach them, because they're not going to teach you. They're not going to teach you this, because they don't know it. Unless they've gone to a higher level of education, where they've taken, gone into a PhD level of jurisprudence, taking specialty courses and legal theory and legal philosophy. All right. So then they'll be able to draft a constitution. If they're a law professor dealing with, particularly with dealing with legal philosophy or legal theory. So we got to understand the difference. All right. So this can be broadcast anywhere in the world. All right. So he's talking legal principles, which is the bedrock of how, without the knowledge of legal principles, you cannot draft the Constitution. Without the knowledge of legal principles, you cannot run government. Continue, King. 5 more minutes, King.
Okay. So what you got to understand why the importance of these legal principles. Because once you understand that the legal principles shape everything, now you'll be able to look at your case. Now you can look at the substantive language and statutes. You'll be able to see how the officer charged you. You'll be able to see malicious prosecution. You'll be able to see abuse of discretion by the court. You'll be able to see abuse of powers. You will be able to see abuse of subpoena powers. You will be able to see judicial misconduct. You will be able to see professional misconduct. All these different things when you understand the principles. You will understand when the court violates due process. You will understand how, if the government is operating in a proper form based on the principle of it's saying it's a republic, because a Republican form of government have particular elements, which is the DNA in the fabric of that political system. You cannot, if you don't know the legal system, if you don't know these principles, you're not going to understand what you're doing. And I'm going to tell people to be careful. I'm going to say be very careful. And I'm going to give you these words. I want you, this is the words of the wise. I want you to understand when you saying people saying they got government and they're running government, ask them, do they understand these principles? Have they studied? Have they made sure they understand jurisprudence? Do they have the proper concepts based on the legal theories, based on these legal principles? Because if not, they may be the same person that oppress you worse than the oppressor that you have today. Why do I say that? Because when you challenge them based off of ignorance, they're going to then raise up against you. Because why? You are challenging their authority and they don't want to seem weak. You are building a government based off improper understanding and misconceptions. So most of the time, when you have that, when somebody say, oh, we got a government, this is what we're doing, and they don't understand this, they're going to raise against the people. Why? Because they don't have the knowledge. And you might find yourself back in chains, literally, if you don't understand what's going on. You will find yourself maybe running into a burning building because someone led you to a place without giving you the proper knowledge based in these principles. And you can get you, your family, and your children hurt because they don't understand these concepts.
I told him to say that today. I told him to say that. We talked about this earlier. I said, King, we got to go live with this. I suggested that King say that, what he just said. I suggested because I care so much about the people. I said, King, you got to go live. You got to go live and direct. You must say that. All right. So blame me. Blame me. I'm the one that strongly suggested that King say this.
So I just want to get everyone to understand this is not to belittle anyone or to make anyone feel inferior. I'm just trying to trigger the minds of the people to understand what's important, what's at stake. When you don't understand these legal principles, it's hard for you to make sound judgments. You cannot litigate your case without knowing these principles. Not to be sound, you might win a few cases, but when the rubber meets the road, can you stand and handle that case with precise precision over and over again? Can you do that? Can you win a case based on due process? A lot of times, I don't even argue the merits. I don't care about the merits. Most of the time, when I recognize due process violations, I stand on due process. We ain't going to move until we get these due process issues ironed out. Once I smell the due process and I smell it, oh, these violations after violations after violations, we're not going nowhere. I don't care about what you've done. I don't care about the merits. I'm rooted in this principle that y'all already violated. You know how many of us go to jail, sitting in a cell for months and years and haven't been brought to trial yet? You sitting behind a cell. They charge you. They come in your house. They say they was acting on good faith, but you sitting in a jail cell while they continually doing an investigation, trying to build a case while you locked up. Give you this high bond. Do you know that's violation of due process? This judge just gave you $1 million bond and then the prosecutor is sitting there saying they got enough to charge you, locking you up, but you ain't been a child in 90 days? Oh, that's all of that's due process violation. But if you don't understand the principles and understand the operation of law, a lot of y'all don't understand filing a motion to discovery. Under the operation of law, the Sixth Amendment is self-executing. When the prosecutor got enough of the charges, he's supposed to automatically give you the discovery. You don't supposed to go and ask him and be begging him for the discovery and having the court get involved. That's an operation of law, but that's a principle. They cannot take life, liberty, or property without due process. The Sixth Amendment is self-executing. They're supposed to not only tell you the nature, they're supposed to tell you also the nature and the cause of action, which is two separate elements. That is an operation of law. You don't have to question the court. That's a violation. You don't even supposed to have to put in a motion. They're supposed to automatically show you what that is. But if you don't understand that, you don't know that. You won't know to argue that. Based on the Sixth Amendment alone. The first 10 Bill of Rights, they are self-executing. They took a constitutional oath. Do you know when they violate that constitutional oath, they are liable through risk management? Because their operation from a scope of practice that is not identified by the legal system in which it's supposed to be operating under. The component of which the government of that court, which is a component, supposed to operate in a capacity that lines with the what? The constitutionality. Based on a set of principles that's already embedded in every lawyer, judge, or every official. I don't care if they have a law degree or not, supposed to understand these principles. And when they don't stand on these principles, they're operating outside the gambit of their authority, and they have no authority because they're acting rogue. But you got to know this, and if you don't understand these principles, I don't care what it is. I yield, fellas.
All right. Brother Bandele.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Let me so we got a lot of questions in here, fellas. And sisters. A lot of questions in here, right? So I know it's a lot of things. I don't know if you guys want to address some of these issues.
King and Menace, yeah, let's address some of them. All right. We'll guess we'll go over because we'll address it. So
we got one right here. So what you think about this?
You facilitated, Bandele.
Okay, that's fine. So I got one up here now, right? So it's it's saying, but the ICC has no power. More should go to the Organization of American States under the laws of nationality, the Pan American Private International Law Code of 1928. Okay, so who wanna tackle that? All right.
Who wants to tackle that?
I think Menace.
Yeah, I'll go at that.
Menace, let Menace do it. King Menace, he's raised his hand. All right, go ahead, brother.
Okay. This goes back to what I was talking about earlier when he says Moor should go to the Organization of American States. Okay, all of that now has, for the most part, been incorporated into, or they work with the United Nations. The United Nations right now is probably the biggest organization, like the Organization of American States. Those are all the states on the American continent and the Caribbean. The only problem that we have is we're not recognized as a nation. And in one of those human rights reports, in which I've tried this, I have a letter that I sent actually to the Secretary General of the United Nations. It was lost it's supposedly still sitting in a New York post office 3 years later, certified mail. But right now in that report, they say that the United States is not letting out individual complaints to the international community, basically stopping any complaint that anyone could have. So, and like I said, I still have the receipt. I call every now and again just to see where it's at. And yeah, it's still supposedly in a New York post office. But even with that, we still have to organize. When you look at every nation on the planet, from the largest nation to the smallest indigenous nation, all of them have a hierarchy or some type of government where there's a leader or there are representatives to represent them, whether they be male or female. Every nation on the planet has that. That is what our problem is, what I'm seeing, and I like to challenge people. And what I see is there are a lot of people out here who, because of their position in their organization, they refuse to accept the facts, not the truth. They refuse to accept the facts. So that's the egos are one of the things that are stopping any progress. But yeah, that would be a move to make, except we're not organized enough to do that. That's where our shortcoming, that's where our shortfalls are. That's why we haven't gone anywhere in almost 100 years. We haven't had any progress since 1928, when he got the mandate for the land. That was our last serious progress. Now we've been there, and the main thing is organization in a manner satisfactory to international standards, or in accord with international standards. I've encountered a lot of people who said they've got seats in the UN and all of these things. And I live in the UN. I stay on the website. I've searched and crawled every inch of that site. And they have it's down from 219 nations. It's down to with these recent global happenings, it's down to about 196 or something like that. But one of the things that we have to understand is we are a new nation. The Iroquois Confederacy was not the only group. They were just a group of nations who agreed to live together under the Iroquois Constitution, the Haudenosaunee, the people of the Longhouse. They were just a small group up in the Great Lakes area. There were way many other tribes and nations here. So when going back to the cultural perspective of what, you can't take just this one perspective of what you see and try to apply it to everything in the cultural perspective. There were many different nations, many different cultures, many different ways and traditions. They ran into the Iroquois because they came down that river, the James, or I forget what it is, up by Maine and all that. That's how they ran into the Iroquois. But we have to get organized before we make any moves. That's the one thing that is stopping us. And everybody's not meant to know law, period. Everybody doesn't have the and this is not to insult anyone, but it's a fact of life. Some people are artists. Some people have the legal mind. Some people are scientists. The scientists may not understand the legal or have the drive or the pool of the legal aspect. So everybody can't do this. So at some point, some of those people who don't understand law but still pretend to be leaders of their nation, they have to come to the realization that, okay, I don't really know this, and this is the best for our people. Because without this, like I said, all they look at us as is a bunch of people calling ourselves Moors, a bunch of black people calling ourselves Moors who really don't necessarily understand what they're talking about, because we've been doing this same thing since, I mean, if you want to talk about the straw man thing, since the 90s. But prior to that, all we've been doing is really spinning our wheels. That's all we've been doing. And it's evident in all of the court cases, in everything. And when you just look back, and it's most prominent in the court cases, because that's how we're trying to get free. That's how we're trying to get out of this. So the one thing that we have to do is really understand who we are. For one, we are the first nation of people on this planet to call ourselves Moors. Like I said, the first recorded use was a Roman word when they came across the Mediterranean and seen all the dark-skinned faces. And the word term Moor, Maures, was a Greek term, and it stands for basically dark-skinned people, Moors. It was corrupted down to Moors. And this information can be found in Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's book, Golden Age of the Moor. So when that's the first thing, we have to understand that there has never been a Moorish empire per se. There's been a Moroccan empire, which included Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, and all the quote unquote Barbary powers. But there's never been specifically a Moorish empire. Again, we are the first people, since Noble Drew Ali started this movement in 1913 AD. We are the first people on the planet to call ourselves Moors. So that's one of the things we have to organize. Other than that, again, we're going to be spinning our wheels. The the case that I'm fighting now is to help that, to get that around, because they will always consider us U.S. citizens or property, basically, whatever you want to call it. But the case is to prove that I am not a U.S. citizen. When that happens, it basically takes me out, because we've never been state citizens. That's Dred Scott. It would take me out of the U.S. citizen status. And basically everyone who's with the Moorish Republic, it would take them out of the U.S. citizen status. And this is the beginning of nation building, basically through their system. We're not asking for anyone's permission to be who we know we are, to be who we are calling ourselves. This is more or less, in studying international law, this is one of the steps to go through, because now when, like, this case is stagnating, it's been a month and they haven't answered. It's been over a month and they haven't done anything on it. So now that opens up a case to the international the Human Rights Commission, because now you're stagnating us and we're fighting. This also opens up a case to the International Court of Justice. So I've stopped fighting in the terms of enforcing the Constitution. The only thing that I'm enforcing on the Constitution, that we are enforcing on the Constitution, is Article 6, which says that treaties are the law of the land. Then you go back to the human rights treaties, which say that we have a right to a nationality. We have a right to cultural, political, economic autonomy and freedom. So that this is the approach that we're taking. This, because I've done the straw man thing. I filed every affidavit you could possibly think of. And this is starting back with the UCC1 statements. I don't know if anybody is even familiar with that anymore, but yeah, that's been going on since the 80s. Our people have been doing that. So this is we have to understand who we are. That's the first thing. We have to understand what we are calling ourselves. We have to understand our origins. So at some point, people have to understand the difference between an empire and a kingdom. An empire, well, first, let's say a kingdom. Morocco is the kingdom of Morocco. Now, all of the lands that Morocco conquered is to be considered the empire because they are under Morocco's jurisdiction and control. That is the Moroccan Empire. 1905, I think, 1901, France conquers Morocco. The Moroccan Empire is dismantled. After France comes Spain. The empire is dismantled some more. Well, totally dismantled. So with that, there is no more Moroccan Empire. There is no more Moorish Empire. That is one of the things that we have to understand. All of that was conquered and taken. France and Spain still occupy parts of Morocco. So now when you get to talking about the kingdoms that were part of the empire, the nations that were part of the empire, the areas that were part of the empire, those people were not necessarily Moroccans. They were conquered nations. They had their own nationalities. But just because they were conquered by Morocco, this is what we're fighting to get out of. The United States conquered us. But now they're trying to say we belong to them or we are their citizens, when this is not the truth. So we are trying to get out of the United States empire. They have Guam. They have all of these other quote unquote territories, but that is part of the U.S. empire. Now,
Gotcha.
As it pertains to
I'm gonna give you like a minute left. We wrap it up. We get to another video, another question.
Okay, and I'll stop it at this. It's more or less nationalization. That is the term that we need to be looking at. Nationalization. That is basically having a government and putting everything under the jurisdiction of this government of a different nation. Nations are run by governments. So not just people. Any nation on this planet has a hierarchy of government. I don't care where you go to the deepest jungles of the Amazon. They have a hierarchy of government and they have people, representatives who speak on their all behalf. No one on this planet just governs themselves. Islam.
Yes, Islam. All right. So we got another question or a statement. I want whoever wants to deal with it, saying the United Nations is de facto, according to the Act of Algiers. Algeciras. Okay, 1906, Article 60, and the Treaty of Madrid, Article 11. They have no authorization to occupy Moorish lands.
All right. Let's look at the substantive language. All right, because someone who has not read this, they would say, "Oh, Article 60 of the Act of Algiers has the word United Nations in it," because they're not thinking, well, the United Nations wasn't formed then. So how could the substantive language in Article 6 have the term United Nations when the United Nations didn't exist? See what I'm doing, y'all? It's just doing, that's all. So it cannot read. Article 6 does not read United Nations blank blank blank, because United Nations didn't exist. It said, well, United Nations is de facto. Remember this. Let's look at this, y'all. The United Nations is de facto according to the Act of the Series 1906, Article 6. So that would mean that there's the substantive language in Article 6 that reads, United Nations is de facto. United Nations didn't exist. Come on, y'all. Come on, my brothers and sisters. Come on.
Substantive law is a principle, Abdullah.
It's a system. Yes. I mean, I don't have to go any further. Let's go to the next question because it doesn't. I'm with you. I'm with you. I mean, I'm saying it's debate because there's nothing to answer, Bandele, because the substantive language doesn't read that. What I'm doing is clarifying, letting people know that the substantive language in the 1906 Act of Algiers, Article 6, does not read that one. The United Nations didn't exist.
Exactly. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. You
we can't. That's right. I can't. There's nothing to answer. It's all to clear up. That's all.
Right.
Let's go to the next question.
All right. So someone says, why do Black Americans call themselves Moors and our ancestors that came to America as slaves were not even from that region exactly where the Moors had come from?
All right. Let me address that.
All right.
There's no such people. All right. All right. So why do Black Americans, hear me out. Why do Black Americans, so you stop there. Black's a nationality of a people? I didn't know that.
No,
Black's a nationality, a national origin, a pedigree, ancestry, a genealogy of a people?
Nope.
Like Black's a fiction. A fiction can't call it. It can't call. It can't. All right. Black. It's on paper. It's on paper. It can't call. It can't do. It's inanimate. How it can't go to the bathroom. It's it.
Black is an adjective.
Let's go to Negro. Negro in Spanish.
Adjective.
Negro, Spanish word. It's an inanimate object. Negro is used to describe inanimate objects. Hear me out. Negro zapato. Negro zapato. Black shoe. Zapatos is shoe is the noun. Negro is the adjective. Mortals in Spanish is used to what? Identify humans in Spanish, in the Spanish language. Mortal is used to identify human beings. In the Spanish language, Negro is used to describe inanimate objects. Look it up, please. Please do not say. Please, I do not say. Abdullah Bey said. Please, come on, my brothers and sisters. Please do not say that. You don't need to say that. Please don't say Abdullah Bey said. Look it up.
It's in the dictionary. If you look up,
I know what I'm saying, because they're going to say Abdullah Bey. You got lazy people. Menace. All right, menace. I'm talking to the lazy ones. I'm talking to the lazy ones. The lazy ones will say Abdullah Bey said on New Kemetic. You don't need to say that. Look it up.
Look it up.
That's being lazy. Pecola, I'm gonna drop ball. Pecola's trying to get back on. I'm gonna send a link again. All right.
I just want to if I can, I just want to add to what he was saying. The word, if you look in the dictionary, the word black, Negro, colored, they're all adjectives. They are the word black is adjective to describe something, Negro to describe something, colored to describe something. That's all they do. So people are nouns. So nationalities are nouns. You would be talking to a term in a noun, like um, he's a Moorish national. The word Moorish is the descriptive. National is the thing, is the person that Moorish is describing. He's the word, like they use the word black by itself. You can't just be a black. We can't just be blacks. We can't just be Negroes. There has to be a word following the descriptor. So you have a black hat, a black car, a black cat, a black phone, but you have a colored phone, you have a negro phone. But all of those, and I want to just get off the color for a second. The word individual. The word individual fools a lot of people because they think, oh, I'm an individual, just based on it's the propaganda that they put out. It's the social engineering that they put out here. But when you look up the word individual, individual is an adjective. So you cannot just be an individual. You have to be an individual man. You have to be an individual camera. You have to be an individual something, because it is also an adjective. Islam.
Can I add to that? When we talk about naturalization and all of these things, these are also fundamental principles. So government, right? As we look at government, this is why I don't get off of principles. You can't get away from the principles. The principles gonna follow wherever the subject matter go. There's principles. You can try to run it, but it's gonna drag right behind you, right? Mm-hmm. You can't escape it. You can't outrun it. I don't care where you go. So when we're talking about naturalization and we're talking about principles of law, government decide that process. And when you put people like black people in all of this, you're trying to say that these people came from outer space almost, because there is no such being, right? So now we look at the concept and we must understand, rooted in the principle. So you telling me we came from outer space, that we were dropped off here, that we belong to no nation of civilized people at all?
That's what they saying.
You see what I'm saying? So you saying that we are some kind of object, and you're telling me in itself, under the 13th Amendment, let me explain to you, black is a slave terminology, and it violates, right? It's a badge.
It's a badge of slavery.
It's a badge of slavery. It's a badge, a relic, an incident of slavery. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yep.
So when you call yourself black, I want you to understand what's going on. They're trying to say you have no nation of people. When we talk about organizing, right, I want y'all to understand principles of law once again. In order to move in the ICC and go to the United Nations, this is for states. They recognize states. They don't recognize individuals. You cannot move until you meet these elements, till you be able, so now you can move forward to meet these claims, because you represent a permanent population. You represent a territory. These are rooted in principles you can't get away from. That's why I live with the principles. This is why I was able to win a lot of cases, because I understand principle. You can act like you don't need to know these principles, but let's see how far you go. Let's see how many cases you win. Let's see how far you establish government. Let's see how far you go about helping other people with legal situations. Let's see how far you go when you don't understand these principles. Because these principles is embedded. It's the DNA of not just the political but the legal side. And the legal side is made up of different components that operate using the DNA or how the operation system. The DNA is like the operating system to Microsoft. Same equivalent. It's the operating system. Without the operating system, your computer can't run.
Check.
So you need to understand these principles. Y'all keep trying to escape principles. And if you don't know these principles, let's see how far your computer function before it malfunctions. So I'm just trying to get y'all to be rooted. Being black, it's a classified term. It's a form of denationalization. It's illegal in its own context. It goes against national principles. Because you give a people no right to claim under anything. Now they always in the subjugated status. And that goes against international policy. But if you don't know the principles, you can't even stand on them.
And see, one of the things I lost my train of thought. That is how we stay in this subjugated status. Oh my God, I just lost my train of thought. I'm gonna stop it right there, but
okay.
I'm gonna come. Yeah, I'll think of it later on.
Okay, I'm gonna hit this last question, I guess. Last question, or maybe one more after that. So you see this it says that the word Moor was originally used as an insult, like the N-word is used by our people here in America. The term Moor was originally defined as blackface. No. Who would have? Right. I mean, first of all, the word goes back past Roman. The word was used by Phoenicians, and it wasn't used to describe a blackface, because back then they didn't even look at race in that way. So that's what that's my understanding of it. Okay, I got let me put y'all back in. Boom, boom. All right. So any of y'all want to address that question that's on the screen?
I'm going to answer that question.
Are you there?
I think you muted. You might be muted.
I mean, he's not muted on here, but I can't hear you. Okay. He's gone for a second, but there. Okay, sister. You want to address this, sister?
Question. What was the question? The word.
The question. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and read it. Mm-hmm.
The word Moor was originally used as an insult, like the N-word is used by our people. Here in America, the term Moor was originally defined as blackface.
All right, I can answer that. All right, finding of facts. I'm going to use finding of facts. All right, because people just make stuff up. They make stuff up. All right, because if I ask them to present the finding of facts, you know what I mean, they'll get upset with me and they'll go out of space somewhere, and you know what I mean. And what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Willis? If I ask them to support their claims, they can't do it. You ask me, I can do it. If I can't do it, and I'll tell you that I don't have the sufficient evidence to do it. All right, let's go to exhibits. I'm going to my book, Moors and Masonry, the Consolidated Treaty Series by Clyde Perry. Consolidated Treaty Series by Clyde Perry that I've referenced, that I got the treaties from, that I Moors and Masonry Part 1 and 2. You have the treaties. You'll see Moor And also letters that I got from the National Archives, the Library of Congress, the Pennsylvania Historical Societies. You'll see Moor, the name Moor, in many letters and treaties dating back to the 1600s, early 1600s. And that's being used as a nationality, a people, not blackface. We're talking about its use in treaties. Let's go to the 1492. Now I say 1600. Now I'm going to the 1400 now. The Treaty of Granada. Look it up. Don't cook it up. You have to say Abdullah Bey said it. The Treaty of Granada, November 25th, 1491. Moor. Doesn't say Arab. Doesn't read blackface. Doesn't read black, Negro, or colored. Moor. It protects the Moorish personal rights. The Treaty of Granada, that was the ended Moorish rule in Europe. That was ended the last, it's the surrendering treaty. Abu Muhammad surrendered Granada to Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand. But remember, personal rights cannot be surrendered. So it protects the Moorish personal rights. The Moorish personal rights were not surrendered. The treaty protects the Moorish personal rights. It doesn't read Arab, doesn't read Syrian, black, Negro, colored, Spanish. So that's exhibit. That's one of the exhibits, and I have about 100 exhibits in Moors and Masonry Part 1 and 2. But that's 1491. 1491.
Cook 'em.
I'm saying they're making stuff up, though.
Right. That's why we're here to take these misconceptions.
So I just want to add this. Once again, he said personal rights. These are principles. Once again, we're going to hit on to principles. You can't escape principles. It's just like having a rope tied around your waist with a can, and you trying to outrun the rope. The rope in the can is going to follow you everywhere you go. So everywhere you turn in law, there's a group of principles sitting there watching. Correct. Because the principles make up the legal system. It's a part of the DNA. It's the building block. It's the architect of this legal science called jurisprudence, and you cannot escape it. You can try to act like I don't want to learn this. You can ignore these principles, but guess what? If you do, you're going to fail. I promise you, you're going to fail.
Yes, you are.
I promise you.
Yes, you are.
So,
I'm sorry, bro. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Brother Menace.
I just thought about what I was gonna say earlier, and this goes the fundamental principles. We are the first people on the planet. There's no doubt about that. We are the first people to circumnavigate the planet. We are the first people to start nations, and I'm talking millennia before white people ever came into existence. We were in nations, and we were interacting with each other as nations. This is where these international principles develop from. This is where these international laws and customs and traditions develop from. We started this, and a lot of people that I've run into, I hear them say, "Oh, we don't have to go by international law, none of this and none of that, and this and that. It's European." No, it's not European. And I seen a comment where someone said the United Nations is de facto. The United Nations is something similar to the Organization of American States. It is
No, it didn't read that. I mean, it didn't read that. It didn't read. It didn't read United Nations. It didn't read. It said according to. It said. Let's go back to it though. That's because it would provide. All right. Okay. It didn't read alone. It didn't read United Nations de facto. Right. It said according to.
Right. Okay.
Act of 1906, Act of Algiers, Article 6. I just want to
Okay.
provide the substantive. I want the what?
Article 60. It was Article 60. not
Article
Yeah,
60.
right.
Thank you, Queen. Article 60. Then read United Nations de facto. Period.
Right.
All right. I
Okay.
just wanted to. All right. Go, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that too.
This is what they're
Okay,
saying though,
well,
right here.
I've run into a lot of people.
He put it back up. He put it back up. Since you said it's put. Yeah, he put it back up for clarity for everybody. Thank you, Bandele.
All right.
And I've had a lot of people just say that in general, not dealing with this guy, but the United Nations doesn't mean anything and this and that. Well, the United Nations is going according to those international traditions and customs between nations. The United Nations isn't a government per se. All of the nations who are a part of the United Nations agreed to be in it. They agreed to follow the rules of the United Nations. And if you go to the Charter of the United Nations, the main goal is to keep peace and communication between nations. That's what the laws of nations. That's what international law concepts and standards came into existence, because nations had to deal with other nations. This is how nations are recognized by other nations. Like if for example, the Israel-Palestine situation. Palestine, probably a few months ago, was just recognized as a nation with the United Nations. It was just recognized as a nation with the United Nations, but you have the UN Security Council. They hold the veto power, basically. And the Security Council is basically composed of all the nations who have nukes, basically. So when this Israel-Palestine situation jumped off, I guess they had been applying for nationhood, but had been being blocked by the United States, who is pretty much the government is filled up with Jews and all of that. But they blocked Palestine from being a nation, which somewhat blocked them from some humanitarian and some authority or autonomy. Not saying they didn't have their own autonomy, but the situation changes when you become recognized as a nation state, because now you're on the somewhat of the international stage, and the only one to veto that recognition was the United States. They were the only ones to veto that recognition, but everybody else is like, yes, we recognize you as a nation state. Now they come under the protections of the UN and all of these other nations. So basically, when their allies now try to help them, they would be, I guess, somewhat justified in that. But this is a perfect example of what we're trying to do with the Moorish Republic. We're trying to get out and organize everyone in such a manner that we have, it doesn't have to be a large government, but we have a structure to where once we get out from under the United States and get into the Human Rights Commission, that's all we need. That's the first step, is to just get recognition. Recognition brings other things. That brings assistance. And that recognition is only going to come by adhering to those international principles of nation states and the recognition thereof. Islam, I yield.
Okay,
Right.
Abdullah, would you answer this last question?
You want me to answer this question?
Yeah.
You still haven't answered my question. Do most of our ancestors come from that region exactly, where the people had identified themselves as Moors? All right. Now you have come from those. Do most of our people come from that region? No. Let me All right, because then you're talking the transatlantic slave trade crap. All right, that's the transatlantic slave trade crap of 12 million. All right, in my book, Moors and Masonry, Part 1 and 2, I challenge the reader to re-examine the transatlantic slave trade claims through the analysis of Moorish power. When you plug in the equation, you put in the equation, you put into the computer, you're putting in, you're doing a program,
You're looking at what they call the facts of law.
Yeah, the facts of law. Thank you. So we use the facts of law, Moorish power, that is, Moorish treaties. And in the Moorish treaties deals with the settlement of European slavery, Moors, dealing with protection of Europe, of English or French or Dutch, Spaniards in these Moorish treaties, dealing with trade, protection, with the for the French and England, the Dutch Republic, the Netherlands, traveling the high seas, protecting them so that they can expand their trade and commerce. The Moorish control of the Atlantic and the Mediterranean. That is by studying Moorish treaties. You can, the finding of facts by studying Moorish treaties. All right, so you say, whoa, I didn't know that the Moors had all this power during the 15, 16, 1700s. Well, isn't that the time period that the claim is made that the Portuguese and the Spaniards, the Portuguese and the Spaniards in the 1500s, and then you have the French in the 1600s, French and English in the 1600s, and didn't they snatched 12 million Africans out of the continent of Africa and transport them to North America, Central America, South America, and the islands? And you start putting the facts in, looking at the Trinitarian 600 years of records, 600 years of records of Moors capturing Europeans, the Trinitarian and Mercedarian. The Trinitarian was established in 1198, the Mercedarian established in 1238. 600 years of records. Look it up. The English Abdullah said anything. Look it up. 600 years of documentary evidence, facts, finding of facts of Europeans raising money to get Europeans out of Moorish captivity. 600 years. You have the Trinity House established in the 1600s.
Brother,
once you start putting,
can I please add to that? Please.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay. In his book, Golden Age of the Moor, it's a combination of essays and reports from different researchers. One of them's name is Dana Reynolds. She's actually a Facebook friend of mine. I found her. But she says that I forget which king he said, but she said 25,000, or he talked about his people being delivered into servitude in Morocco. Now, also with that, and this is like 1721. Then in another section, she talks about how there was a sultan in about that same time. He had all
Ismail Mu'ali.
Okay.
Ismail Mu'ali. He was sultan during that time period, Morocco. Yes.
Okay. He sent, after he had his stables built, he sent 25,000 indentured Europeans over here. It says that he sent them here. So now when you start to add up how and when they took over, that's almost 2,000 Europeans per colony. If you want to spread them out like that. But 1776, when we began being enslaved, that's 50 years, or excuse me, 50 years after all of those indentured servants. So you have all these people getting free and making babies and being strong, and they still come with these attitudes that they're better. So that kind of explains how they got so strong. That in my theory, and looking at the history of it, that's a lot of 25,000 at that time. Then when they talk about the 20 million slaves brought over here, all you got to do is the math. Each trip, they may have gotten 90 to 100 people. Now, each trip took 3 months. So when you start doing that math and you take, let's say you can take 200 people, you start doing that math and you start adding that up to 20 million, they would still be bringing people. After all that time, okay, if they got a fleet of ships, they would still be bringing people. They didn't have fleets of ships. They had maybe 2, maybe 3 ships that they could get maybe 90 slaves on. When you do that math, if you just keep it constant, every 3 to 4 months, 100 slaves, 200 slaves made it over here. Add that up. The math doesn't add up. They would still be bringing Africans here. They would still be dropping them off in the Caribbean. So yeah, I just wanted to add to that because that was something that I seen in the book about the indentured servitude of the Europeans being sent over here and being over here.
All right. I wanted to get the sister. I wanted to see if the sister had anything to add. Pecola, Sister Pecola, if you had anything to add to this. I see you busy. I see you working though.
Being the matriarch, you mean you want me to comment?
Go ahead. She got something to ask. Go ahead, Pecola.
Case in point from the beginning. Case in point. So just a couple of things. Not everyone is fit to do law and jurisprudence. We all have different roles to play. And I know as I'm listening in this session, and even in the other sessions, we have a very strong emphasis on finding the facts and all of this and all of that. And, you know, I kind of attribute that because I attribute that to all of the information that we're dealing with right now. Like right now, we have people that have court cases. And, you know, right now we got, you know, things that are going on. And like right midstream, the Shem Malachi Bey plan, we are simultaneously dealing with, you know, what's going on in our everyday life, the everyday situations with parking tickets and the this and the that. We're dealing with that. But meanwhile, at the ranch, the Shem Malachi Bey plan was a plan that was designed to move us into the restoration process of a collapsed nation state. So we're talking about returning as an old and original state into the family of nations. See, that's where I'm at when it comes down to what are we doing. I'm not putting a lot of emphasis on the United States court systems and this and this and this. I'm not. Why? Because we are in the whole bubble of colonialism. We're in a colonialized system. What do you expect? Something different? Obviously not. They're running the system. They're running the system with some of our knowledge and our principles and our this, and that's fine. That's going to be good for the people that are doing jurisprudence. We expect for you to do that. We need you to do that. We need you to help the people that need help right now. We also need that Moorish investigative team, which I'm a part of. We need that team to start investigating. We need that team to start looking at those material evidence and those things that are going to be used for our claim, because we're trying to make a claim. So it's simultaneous things that are happening here. So everybody's eye can't be on the prize over there when there's a whole bunch of prizes over here. And again, that's what I was saying is that somehow or another we gotta get it. We have to get it that we don't all have to do the same thing. We need people who are strong in that department. Do that, be there. We need people over here to be in this department. Do this. Nationality, outreach. How do you reach the people? You got people all day long calling, trying to find out, how can I get my nationality? As if it's the saving grace. You got a whole big table, chairs and everything, and no feast on the table. So we have to know what to do with the people once we bring the people into the consciousness and awareness of nationality and birthright. We can't just keep talking at it because it's going to get old very fast. In fact, it has, because people have said, damn, that's what they were saying way back when. They ain't made no movement. So yes, people have been distracted with the straw man. Absolutely. I was one of them. Yes, we've been distracted by trust. I'm not going to say we don't really care about that. For some of us who know about it, we know it's a distraction. We know it's what they were doing. We, in desperation for answers, we try to figure something out. So some of us Moors have attached ourselves to some of the European ways, thinking that we can get remedy like them. We need to stay in our birthright lane. We need to stay with our nationality name. We need to stay with violation of treaties. We need to talk treaty talk. We already know about the system that is a governing system of government because we're being governed by it. We don't want that. We don't want that. We're subjugated to that. We don't need to talk about it. Let those people that got situations, let that be a committee or something that deals with those people and help them to get remedy. But meanwhile, at the ranch, somebody, it ain't me because I ain't got that expertise. You want to come in surgery? Come on, I can give you that. I get in medical stuff. That's my expertise. But we need people that's got the skills in certain areas of organization to jump on board and to help. We got all these individual people doing their individual things through the individual 30, 40, 60, 90 years, however long you've been doing it. The bottom line, if you're still stagnant, like dirty water with mosquitoes, you're stagnant. If everybody's got the aha, I got the waha, everybody's got the aha. When is the ahas going to come to the table, sit down at the table and determine that, you know what, I don't have to have it all. I could yield and let you bring your part. In fact, you can bring your part. I'm good like that because that's the unity that we're supposed to be talking about and doing. Not just talking about it, but everybody got the ahas, everybody. And it doesn't matter if it's today ahas or 30 years ago aha. When is it going to stop? When is it going to stop? We right now, I get it that there's people that are doing what they're doing. Some of them are doing it with false and wrong concepts. I don't throw Prophet Noble Drew Ali up, but I follow some of the teachings of Noble Drew Ali. Yes, I do. Morally, I do. Genuinely, I do. I don't get stuck into systems. It's the system, it's the system, it's the system, it's the system. The system is run by people, and people can be immoral. The system is run by people, and people can be egotistical. The system can be run by people, and they can be egoic. So we still have to look at the people. We still have to examine who is governing, who's being up front, teaching, saying, I got the aha moment. So, like I said, I don't have the answers. I can observe and see and just hope, pray, and wish that we get people that will come and work together. If someone says, and I don't care if they're in Egypt, somewhere over there, they say, I got an answer to help. It is, I think it's quite arrogant to think that you don't have to listen to possible answers that's a remedy for everybody. But you just throw darts. Let's just keep throwing darts. Oh, they got wrong concepts. They got wrong concepts. Let me still alienate you because, you know, you're different than me and you don't have right concepts. You got the wrong concepts. So I don't want you over here. We got to stop doing this because this is what's causing the fracture, the fissures, the division. When are you going to come to the table with all of these? Well, I got this organization, and I'm an LLC, and I got this, and I'm a divine this, and I'm a sheik, and I'm a minister, and I'm a this, and I'm all these titles and everything, and our people in the millions are still lost. And still not even heard of this. Being condescending, it gets you nowhere. Being a preacher on the pulpit gets you nowhere. We heard it before. We have to hear the compassion. We have to hear, oh, I'm passionate. Well, everybody's passionate too. You're not the only one passionate. We have to figure this out with a genuineness, with a love. Prophet Noah Ali said, what? You got to deal with things in love. Okay, let's tone it down a little bit and see where we can go with this. Being condescending, it does nothing except for strokes the ego. That's all they do. Nobody wants to hear that. What comes out of your mouth, I can gauge your heart. I don't care you got a degree. I got one too. Several of them. It does nothing if it's not being utilized for our people, genuinely. So I'm just saying, no, nobody's interested in the processes. We're not, overall, we're not, I'm trying to be on the train that's going for remedy. I would like to think that anything I contribute is going to be toward the remedy. Unfortunately, Shem is not here to talk about the Shem Malachi Bey plan. And this is one option of trying to restructure government internally, getting our people on board internally. Again, everybody's not going to do law. So to shove law down their throat, they're already getting a de facto law system all on top of them. For the people that don't have the legal problems, they're good. But for the other people that have legal problems, let those teams be there ready to help them. And I agree, we need more matriarch. We need more feminine energy. Because I'm overwhelmed with all the male energy. I'm just overwhelmed. And the only thing I can do is just remain silent, because it's like they don't even see themselves. They don't even see themselves. Sometimes, like I said, just because there's a gap, you don't need to jump in it. Sometimes you just have to chill and just see what becomes of it.
Islam.
And yes, I was going to answer the question before the brother jumped on my back. You jumped on my back and answered the question as I was getting ready to, in my own way, because we all have done studies of different degrees, and we all have some form of an answer. Some people don't have an answer. Somebody ask me a question, I will give you the most intelligent answer I can give you based upon what I know. I don't have to beat you down with, hey, I don't study 10 books and this is where I got it from it. I don't have to do that. I can only give you the answer to a question in which you've asked me, and then I can give you the source. I can kindly give you the source and nothing more. It will require you to read. You cannot come on these sessions. It's great to hear it for the first time, you get motivated, but for the true, you have to put time in. You have to see the sources. It's not necessarily all accessible through Googling. You might have to pick up a book, order some of the brothers' books who've done research, or order some of the older books if you want to know. Some people don't want to know all that knowledge. They just want to say, hey, where can I be placed so I can be part of the team? Tell me what I can do to be part of the team. And right now we need to know how the local groups can properly formulate themselves so that they can reach their community, to let them know this knowledge of nationality and birthright, and let them know, okay, this is a whole de facto system. This is a culture shock when you tell people that this is not what it is. The United States is not your country. It's a whole culture shock. We have to be able to address this patiently with our people and let them know, where do you go from here? We got to have, where do we go from here? We got to have that structure locally. Now, I get it that there's Anti-Peridium Colorado, and Anti-Peridium has gotten multiple groups. multiple territories, and they've got a system. I would like to see that system. I would like to sit at the table with the people who got that system. And I would like the people that don't know that system to examine the system and see if this is something that will work. It's like currency. Everybody got currency, but we need to have one currency. Can we all sit at the table and decide on what kind of fiat or what kind of money we're really going to use so that we can be unified? Kind of like the confederations had to do. And confederations had to do that. They fought, they fell apart, they regrouped. They came back to the table. And like I said, of what I researched, and it wasn't deep, but it was deep enough to know that they respected the matriarch and they had the matriarch there. They were not trying to bulldoze her over. They were not trying to just beat her down or beat her out of a submission. In fact, there's an article that the brother had turned me on to, Brother Abdullah Bey, turned on to the article, which is how the founding fathers ignored the clan mothers in making the Constitution. So the United States Constitution, they themselves disrespectfully ignored the role of the matriarch. And all we're doing is a perpetuation of that. So that's just my 2 cents. Hope I wasn't too harsh. I got lots of love. I've just got lots of frustration too. It's almost like the cat that keeps dragging the damn rat in the house. Or like, why you keep dragging a rat in the house? I mean, a rat doesn't belong in the house. I'm tired of talking about the problems that there are. We live the problems. We know the problems. We are about resolution here. The Shem Malachi Bey plan is that step toward resolution. And yes, we have to deal with the system that we have right now in place, which happens to be the so-called de facto government. Okay, we don't go out and cause problems with this system. We have to diligently, patiently wait until this system is made to change. Yes, the United Nations have their issues, but that system right now, as so-called de facto they are, let me tell you, a couple of those African countries stood up and came to the aid of Palestine, because those 5 countries, P5 panel, whatever there is of the United States in them that always knock everything down. Some of those so-called Kabbalah African countries got tired of it. They got tired of the disregard for human life. So they went to the International Court of Justice on the behalf of that country. And they were able to, each of them, talk about it, why they're supporting it, to help facilitate change. So while the United Nations, is from afar, they're nothing important. Well, it used to be the family of nations. It used to function as some form of togetherness, but they helped to make the change. And that's the point, is that right now, we don't have any assistance other than we're in this bubble of colonialism. We need to be able to reach out to see who's going to be able to assist us in dealing with the matter. And there is a process. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes.
You can.
Yes.
Yeah. So there is a process, and that process is laid down with the law of nations on how you do that. And I believe we have a plan for that, but we still need to reach the people that are not necessarily dealing with that whole plan. We have to have, like, for instance, I guess some of those states, the Anti-Peridium, for instance, as an example, they actually created a different nation, or I should say different territories that they were beginning to start. Again, they're not perfect, so there's no sense in throwing darts at them like they think they got a government. Let's stop being condescending and see what they've got. It may be some toilet paper that we could use, because the bathroom ain't got no toilet paper, unless you want to use a corn cob like they used to do way back in the day. So maybe we need to see what our brothers have that might work for us too. Because the way they're doing it, they're dealing with the local governments. They're trying to get the consent of the people. And this is important when you're talking about governing over anybody. You have to get the consent of the people. So that means that at the lowest level, you have to talk to the people. You have to let the people know. You have to educate the people. You have to not overwhelm the people. You can't overwhelm them. There will be people that are going to be hard charging and they want more. They want more. Those are the good potential leaders. Great. But for the simple mass, the masses, they need it in a consumable way. They need to know, hey, what I got to do? Declare my nationality. Okay, what else I got to do? Oh, want me to set up a school so I can teach children, about their nationality and their pride? Okay, I'm a teacher, like Quasi and them are doing. They each have discovered what they need to do on their tierra. They realize what they need to do over there. We need those kind of leaders, those kind of thinkers. And you know what? We need to restructure our government. And so while we need to do it at the local level, we know that already that Shem Malachi Bey plan here is part of this whole big thing. But we got to look at it down here and see how we can pull the people together. Okay, there's a group over here, Moor Science Temples, a group over here. They're called this. Okay, well, guess what? That's what the Political Unity Conference was about the other month. It was about respecting that you got your group, respecting that you got your mission. You got your mission. But in your missions, can you come to the table with us and come up under one nationality and have your people give consent to you to be the leader, and we can prove it, because all of that proof is going to be necessary at some point down the road, and then start building. So we need to know how to build from the ground up. We don't need to, get rooted in their damn system. We in their system. Why do I want to know more about their system? I get it that some people think that, well, this system right here is what we're going to be using internationally. Not necessarily. This is a national law system. These are nations that got their local yokel stuff going on. We're talking about violation of treaties, what we're talking about, and how we identify with our ancestors in those treaties. That's what we're talking about.
Sister Pecola, want to wrap it up?
Yes.
Want to wrap it up? Just 1 more minute.
Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. However, we just got to do better with being more unified. We have to do better with the unification and respecting the systems that people have been trying to do, and just maybe tweak those systems. Not just go, what they call throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's people that have been doing stuff before. We need to be able to hear one another out and be able to maybe to use those things. Why reinvent anything when somebody may have, can use a little tweaking. So anyway, thank you for the platform. Thank you for the knowledge.
I want to provide some clarity for the audience. Let me provide some clarity for the audience. Once again, there's 5 legal systems in the world. I can be broadcast worldwide. There's 5 legal systems in the world: common law, civil law, customary, religious, mixed. You have political system, which is not a legal system. I gave you the legal systems. You have political systems: republic, monarch. You have absolute monarch, constitutional monarch. You have socialist, totalitarian. All right, so those are, and there's others. Those are political systems. And each legal system have a set of principles. And then you have those principles. Some of the principles are across the board throughout the 5 legal systems. Without the knowledge of legal principles, you cannot write a constitution. I asked King again, I asked King earlier, can all attorneys write a constitution? Within 3/10 of a second, he said no. All attorneys don't know this. This is jurisprudence, which is legal philosophy. So you choose a legal system. What legal system will you run? Common law, civil law, mixed system, customary system, religious system. Once a legal system is decided on what political system, republic, constitutional monarch, absolute monarch, socialist. All right. This is worldwide, y'all. We're talking worldwide. We're not talking United States only. We're not talking United States singling. We're not singling out just United States. We're talking worldwide. So if you go to school for legal philosophy, you don't focus on just you study all legal systems. So you're studying legal philosophy, legal theory. That's jurisprudence. So a Juris Doctorate, someone who has a Juris Doctorate or degree, a PhD degree in legal philosophy, they can write a constitution. They can build government. Someone with a law degree from a law school cannot necessarily do that. So you wonder, all right, we aren't even familiar with attorneys and lawyers. That's all. That's, the general public, all they know is attorneys and lawyers. They don't know legal theorists. They don't know them. They don't bump into legal theorists. The attorneys, all over the place. Attorneys, courthouse, this place, attorneys. They don't know legal theorists. They don't know them. All right, so we cleared.
Check.
And so I want to explain the difference between an attorney and a legal theorist. They're not the same. That's a different level of education. A different level of education. We need legal theorists. We need legal philosophers. Because what? We have to write a constitution. We have to teach our people how to run government. Attorneys can't help us. We're talking writing a constitution. We're talking operating in that structure. We're talking running government. Attorneys can't help us. Don't go get no attorney. They can't help us. You need legal philosophers. Because all we know is attorneys, we think that they don't have this knowledge. We're talking legal philosophy. We're not talking where they run the rabbit hole of just case law, and case law, and case law, and case law, and case law. Talking legal philosophy, understanding legal principles. We're talking about, meaning that the book, the article, the history of equity jurisprudence, the article that we've been pushing out for 2 or 3 years now. The nature of equity jurisprudence. Look, Google it. The nature of equity jurisprudence. That's a legal theorist wrote that, not an attorney. An attorney didn't write that. Attorney can't write that. A legal philosopher wrote that. In the article, the nature of equity jurisprudence, the author, the legal philosopher, he goes to the origin of equity, dating it back to the Code of Hammurabi even further. Then he what? Then he takes it, shows it's watered down. That it being watered down in Greece, watered down in Rome, watered down, and now it's what? The Chancery Court. No, equity is in everything. Equity is in everything. Equity. So what they did was, once again, let me explain this. When you're talking about when you're talking about words, how words acquire new meaning. There's three major classifications by which words acquire new meaning. You have specification, generalization, and transfer of meaning. So what the legal philosopher did, see, it showed that the word that equity, they took equity from its general sense, applying to all, and they what? They restricted its sense. Chancery court. That's called a restriction or specification. Let me give you an example of what I mean by that. The word meat, the etymology of the word meat means food. It means food. It's gone through what's called a restriction or specification. Now, just what? Referring to flesh. Just be flesh. That's called a restriction or specification. Once again, there's three major classifications which words acquire new meaning: generalization, specification, and transfer of meaning. The word equity has gone through what? A specification or restricted sense. All right? So this is a legal philosopher that wrote that article, not an attorney. An attorney does not have that knowledge. All right? I just wanted, this is for everybody so we can provide clarity. Clarity. We're talking legal philosophy, which is jurisprudence. This is not taught in law school. I yield.
If I could, I'd like to add more to that. As it pertains to attorneys. There's a difference between an attorney and a lawyer. There's also a difference between a lawyer and a legal advocate. An attorney, when you break down the word, the first word, the base word is called attorn, ATTORN. And to attorn something means to transfer property. So an attorney is someone who transfers property. And when you look at who they work for, an attorney was someone who transferred property into the possession of the king. So when you look at attorneys now, attorneys are actually officers of the court. Their first duty is to the court and not their client. But what they do is when you take an attorney, you lose your right to speak in the court, even though all these state constitutions say you and your counsel have the right to be heard. For the most part, when you take an attorney, you tell them that you're not able to speak for yourself. And but you have to also understand what's going on in the court that you're in. But this is just about attorneys and lawyers. Attorneys are someone who transfer you into the jurisdiction of the court because they're basically, that's their job, is to bring you into the jurisdiction of the court and basically strip you of your money. Now you have a lawyer. A lawyer is someone who is not, by definition, is someone who is knowledgeable in the law and can advise you in the law. That's basically what they can tell you, what it is, what's going on, what may be your best course of action, what they can give you some insight on what's going on. That's what a lawyer is, someone who is knowledgeable in the law. Then you have a legal advocate, which is what attorneys are pretending to be. A legal advocate is someone who fights for your rights. They fight for whatever you have going on. If you have a lawsuit against this car company, like I have, a legal advocate is the one who fights for you in the courts and actually fights the car company. I guess I would be considered a lawyer and a legal advocate because I'm doing both of what's going on with that. And as example, we had one of our nationals in Tennessee. She had a case. It was a traffic case where she filed a motion. She was into a little, filing or whatever, and so she filed a motion to dismiss the case based on the fact that the court doesn't have jurisdiction, all of this and that. But what she did, she forgot to sign it. So when she got to court, the judge, and she recorded it, the judge threatened her with contempt of court if she did not come back with an attorney. Now, remember what I told you an attorney does. He transfers you into the jurisdiction of the court. She was challenging the jurisdiction of the court. Well, he told her he was going to hold her in contempt and did all this tough talking and stuff to her. As the chief representative or president of the Moorish Republic, it's my job to protect our nationals. So after she let me hear the recording and what all was said, I went back, I typed up another motion to dismiss. This time I signed it as a witness. I also typed up a judicial notice, basically breaking down how he violated all the canons of judicial conduct, how he violated her rights and all of these things, and how he was rude, and we're not going to stand for it. And basically,
can I ask you a question, brother?
Let him finish, King. Let him finish, King. Let him finish, King.
Okay.
So this one she took to the court, filed it. She said the next time she came back to the court, there was a different judge, there was a different prosecutor. And the judge, he had the motion in front of him. He told him that this motion has been sitting here for a month. Do they have anything to say about it? There was nothing they could say about it. And basically the motion challenged the subject matter jurisdiction of the court based on the nature of the statutes that they're accusing her of violating, and the nature of the proceedings of the court, and which are quote unquote quasi criminal. There's no such thing as a criminal case. All these cases out here are actually quasi criminal. But long story short, the motion was a motion to dismiss nolle prosequi, NOLLE PROSEQUII. But basically it's a motion for the prosecutor to say we cannot prosecute this case. Long story short, we won 2 times in Tennessee, and the case was dismissed nolle prosequi because they didn't have subject matter jurisdiction. Now, that same situation happened in Texas. The Texas court, which was another one of our nationals, was down there. The Texas court totally chose to ignore it. They ignored everything. And so when I talked to the clerk of the court and asked them why it hasn't been filed, she said it's been filed, but instead of filing them as motions, they got around it by filing them as correspondence. Correspondence, the courts don't have to react to correspondence. It's almost like sending a letter. An affidavit, they consider correspondence. That's why not many people have any success in just filing affidavits. You have to file motions and other things along with those affidavits, because the affidavits only make a statement. Motions or pleadings are telling the court to do something. So, but yeah, just to say that we have won cases We in Tennessee, but Texas, no, they chose to ignore it and try to play crazy about it. Philadelphia, we have another national up there. They chose to ignore it and try to play crazy about it. The federal court in Texas, I opened up a habeas corpus. They tried to give me the runaround about, oh, I had to be an attorney or I had to get permission from the court to file a habeas on his behalf, on behalf of a national of the Moorish Republic. Well, I went back at them and said the habeas law, United States Code, says that I can file a habeas for anyone to get them out. So they played the attorney game. They played they play these games with the attorneys to try to disregard what you say, and they become real disrespectful when you prove that you know more than their attorneys. So I just wanted to add a little bit to what you had said, but I'm gonna leave it at that. And
I want to do this for the audience. All right, this is for the audience.
Islam.
There are the same individual uses the word attorney, or this is for the audience because we got to provide clarity. Mm-hmm. I know you provided the definition of attorney and a lawyer. I'm not going there. I want the audience to know the same individuals who went to those law schools. They use both words. They use both words. That's because you have to say that, all right? Because they will leave away. I'm telling you, brother. I'm telling you. I've been doing this long enough. They will leave away and say, Menon said. All right, hear me out, y'all. Those same folks that graduated from law school, they use the words interchangeably. All right, those same people that went to law school, I'm a lawyer. I'm an attorney. I'm a lawyer. I'm an attorney. They use both. It's not where they just say, I'm an attorney. I'm an attorney. I'm an attorney. I'm an attorney. That's not true. They use both. Those body of people that went to law school, they use both. I just wanted to throw that out there because I didn't want people to think and leave tonight thinking they only say that they are attorneys. That is not true. They use both words.
I just wanted,
go ahead, Keng. I just wanted to provide that clarity for the audience.
I just wanted to ask Menes a question to solidify. Menes, based on your studies and all this stuff you're doing, right? Ain't all of that rooted in legal principles and concepts?
Oh yeah. It's for example, I have a case against the treasurer's office here for sending me a fake deed or a voided out deed when they stole my house. Those are commercial principles because we were in a commercial transaction where I bought the house and they sent me a fake deed or a voided out deed and sold the house to someone else. But commercial principles govern that action. In the action that I have against the United States. International principles govern that action, or they're going to try to make it a domestic thing, but no, international principles govern this case because it's dealing with two nations, the chief representative of the Moorish Republic and the United States, two separate people. We are not the same. So, yes, all of that is rooted in principles, one legal principle or another, whether it's common law, commerce, equity, admiralty, religious, all of those principles that you talked about earlier. Everything that I'm doing now is founded upon one of those principles. Nothing out here is willy-nilly, or you will find yourself spinning your wheels. if you are not attaching yourself or attaching your claim to one of those principles.
I just wanted to show the importance of the principles. You see what I'm saying? This is why I'm saying you have to understand he beating cases not by fluke. He understands the principles associated with the claim that he's making. You cannot outrun these principles. Listen, family, I just want y'all to understand why I'm saying this. I have experience. I have the experience that show me otherwise. I understand. We need to understand why principles are so important. Chief Bandele is my witness. He can tell you. King El Bey won some cases. And what do I always argue? What is my one principle that I always argue, Chief? What do I always argue?
Due process.
Okay. How can you say we're going to move to a higher level, but we don't have the ancient? This ain't nothing new. United States, Germany, France, Great Britain, none of these countries, Spain, Portugal, invented this. This is based on ancient knowledge, ancient principles.
We did this.
So for us to move away from that and say, oh, we're going to do this, all I'm saying to you is people, you know how many times people call me, they say I'm with a group and they've been in jail. Bandele, how many people have called us on the indigenous service and their group left them stranded? Wanting our help.
Countless.
He can tell you. And all I'm saying to you is you got to root yourself with people that have a certain type of knowledge. I don't want to injure the people trying to get my sovereignty. I don't want to lose or have a high body count of people going to jail, coming up dead because I sent them out without giving them the proper knowledge and understanding how we need to move. That's all I'm saying. This is not to ridicule anybody. This is not to hurt anybody. I'm trying to slow down to get us to think and understand what we need to be doing. That's just like giving some kids some tools, right? I give the kids some type of drills and saws without giving him direction, and he go cut off his hand. Who is at fault? I tell him, oh, go handle a chainsaw and go handle these tools, and drill a hole in his head. Who is going to be responsible? And I see a lot of Moors in the community who send people out, and then they leave them, and they calling us, indigenous service, say, Chief Bandele, can you and King El Bey get me a habeas? Could y'all file something to help me? Because my family I'm stuck in prison because I listened to a group and they told me this. And we're trying to, not to hurt the people, help them. The principle is only going to enhance Shem Malachi Bey's plan. It's going to strengthen the plan. It's a marriage. It's a marriage. It's going to alert the people, bring them to a higher form of thinking, of legal philosophy, not just law, practicing law. It's going to teach them a higher concept of knowledge. So now they can understand, okay, this is what we're doing. And now we can show where they're violating our rights.
Check.
I want to help the people. I don't want to hurt them no more. They're being hurt. They already been colonized. So why do I want to colonize their brain even more by teaching them misconceptions? That's a form of colonization. Miseducating the people. Because now you got them running out doing things that's going to get them in trouble, hurt, or dead. It was a brother who was years ago, was that Philadelphia Abdullah, when they ran into his house and they shot him. The police shot him. He said, "This is my house. I'm a Moor. I'm sovereign." They ran into his house and they killed him because somebody gave him some information without giving him proper knowledge. And he sat down on that information, and he got his brother was talking about he got murdered over a home situation, over a house. So I'm just saying we got to be careful.
Pittsburgh.
Right.
The same brother. He's the same brother. Yeah, this is the same brother that was in a white truck. It was it got a couple 100,000 views. He was in a white truck. It's the same brother, Pittsburgh. He was in a white truck. He had the Moorish flag draped outside his truck. And he had he stood up, he had 6, 7, 8 European, 8 cops or 10, whatever, 10 cops. And it got a lot of views. It's that brother. 5 years later, that incident happened 7 years ago. All right. Recently, this is recent, last year, that brother's dead now. That's what King's talking about. It was Pittsburgh. It's that brother. Everybody know him. They know him. That same brother is that King's talking about. He's dead. That's that same brother.
So
dark-skinned brother. Big, dark-skinned brother.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
He put the flag out and said, "This is our land. This is Morocco." That video, they got a lot of views. He ended up getting murdered about a home situation. A home. So all I'm trying to do is slow down the injury. Slow down. To understanding legal theories, concepts, jurisprudence. Now we can understand the proper applications that need to be applied to meet the requisites, so that now we can get remedy. But if you don't know how to talk like that, you don't know how to think like that, how you gonna get remedy? How you gonna say, "Oh, we want to follow the plan," but we don't understand the operation of law? How? How you gonna say we're going to reversion to sovereignty, but you don't understand how that application operates? How you gonna get there? What, you gonna click your heels 3 times? I'm just saying, how you gonna get there? You gonna click your heels 3 times and say, "I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to go home." Do you believe that? I just want the people to critically think. This is not an insult. This is not trying to injure. This is not trying to tear a group down. We're trying to raise them up so that we will stop making these mistakes, because people's lives are on the line. People are going to jail behind these concepts for real. This is not a game. People are trying, you tell somebody something, they running out doing. King El Bey said, like Abdullah say all the time, King El Bey said, King El Bey said, King El Bey, I'm following King El Bey, what he said now. Then when they go to jail, "Oh, King El Bey got me locked up." No, King El Bey don't want to lock you up. King El Bey don't want you to hurt yourself. King El Bey don't want to do that. I want to root you in the principles, because once you know the principles, the game is over. It becomes simple.
Check.
It's like playing chess. Once you know the game of chess, you know the principles, and you understand, you put the strategy together, the game becomes simplified. But when you don't know how to play, you don't know how the pieces move, you don't know how the application of the game works, guess what? Somebody gonna come in there and they don't even got to know how to play. They can tell you something that this is a legal move, and you gonna believe it because you don't know the rules. You don't understand the philosophy, the understanding the nature of the game. And I thank my brother Chief for allowing me to have a platform, because I want to say, y'all got to tune in to the Pro Se Moors, man. Y'all have to tune in to the Pro Se Moors. Me and Chief B, we be knocking it out the park. Y'all want child support remedies? We gonna talk about child support. You want legal remedies? We gonna give you legal remedies. King El Bey, the Bat, and Chief Bandele, the dynamic duo. We be dropping that Pro Se law on y'all. Boom, boom, boom. Then y'all got to come over and check out me and Brother Abdullah. the Moorish Research Investigative Committee with the Moorish School of International Law. You talking about brothers who sacrifice. Abdullah been doing this for 30 years. Bandele been doing this for over 20 years. We done seen so much. I've been doing it 15. You talking about seeing it all. Brother Menace, how long you been doing it? He said since 90-something. So we got to think about this.
2010, since you said.
No, I've been in these courts. Representing myself since 93, 94.
So, all right. Well, that's 30 years, brother. 30 years.
I do this.
30 years.
So what I'm trying to tell you, you got Chief got 20, Menace got 30, I got 15, and you talking about Abdullah got 31 years. We coming from experience. We coming from experience, family. We're not coming off of, we ain't no new Moors talking this and that. We coming from experience. And then you talking about not just experience, high-level thinkers who went in. We didn't have to do this.
Shem Malachi Bey, 20-something years, 25 years.
So if you do the numbers, Shem 25, Abdullah 30, that's over 50 years. Me and Bandele, that's another 35-something years. And brother, right here, you talking about almost 100 years of experience. Experience. So you're not talking to a group of people who are new. We are seasoned people, rooted in knowledge and understanding in a particular area and expertise.
Right now, while we're talking, I'm typing up a motion to get this court to act on this case against the United States. I'm typing it up while we're talking right now.
You see what I'm saying? But I guarantee if you ain't know them principles, you couldn't do it. I guarantee if you don't know the general principles associated with that application, I bet you he couldn't write it up and have a strong claim.
I just filed a writ of mandamus this morning to the Indiana Supreme Court for they don't want to see me be great. They don't want to see me because I'm not an attorney. So I think I was talking to someone about this, but they allowed the trial court to use appellate rules to get rid of some of my evidence. So they're trying to stagnate the case. So, but the defendants, they're not filing any dispositive motions. They're not trying to get rid of the case. They're just sitting there while the court protects them and just denies everything. I filed 2 motions for summary judgment. Now,
hold on. Once again, I just want to tell y'all, one of the principles associated with what he talking about, what the court is denying, accessibility, accountability. These are rules or principles of law that you got to understand. I just wanted to add that. You can finish, brother.
I filed 2 motions for summary judgment. They let the defendants' lack of requesting discovery be the material issue that defeated my summary judgment. Now, you know about discovery. Discovery is a voluntary thing. So they let the fact that the defendant didn't ask for discovery, they let that be my summary judgment. And that was the only argument they had. They didn't have an argument for what the case is about. Just they didn't file discovery, and the court let them beat it 2 times. 2 times they used that excuse. So now I'm going to the Indiana Supreme Court for a writ of mandamus to basically make them grant this summary judgment, because once they see the record, because you have to send the whole record when you request a mandamus. So once they see that their response is we didn't file discovery or he didn't file discovery, that's a case won, because you don't have an argument for what was actually put in front of you. So I'm asking the Supreme Court to go ahead and grant me the summary judgment, because if they make the trial court try to have a hearing on that summary judgment, the trial court is just basically going to deny the summary judgment again, And it's just going to sit. The case is going to sit until they can dispose of it for my failure to prosecute. That's what it took them a year to even serve the summons. They refused to serve the summons, and then they tried to hit me with Rule 41E. I don't know if that's the same in you guys' states, but that's a failure to prosecute or a failure to carry on the case. But when I went back and showed them that you can't dismiss the case for that reason because you didn't file the summons, you didn't serve them with the complaint. So you can't say I didn't prosecute the case if you never served the summons or the complaint to the defendant.
So once again, principle, abuse of discretion, abuse, ding, 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 principle. I can, anytime I hear something, I can point it out based on principle. I ain't got to even go. It's principle. It's an abuse of power, and abuse of discretion.
Now, the reason that they don't want to rule on this is because I implicated the federal courts in the denationalization and the forced assimilation. Because every time now, when I was going through the criminal case, I just got out in 20. I did 8 years. 5 of those 8 years was for financially intimidating the police with a $2.5 million lawsuit. They said I intimidated 4 police and a real estate agent. But again, I did 5 years on a 4-year sentence for that. My whole defense was subject matter jurisdiction. So when I filed the several federal habeas in my last one, they made it a point to say that I had filed 20 cases, and I have, and they were all related to subject matter jurisdiction. So in those cases, this is how I implicated them in the denationalization. In all of those cases, they totally ignored the jurisdictional claim. They totally ignored that and tried to say that in the first ones, I used nationality as the reason they don't have subject matter jurisdiction. In the next ones, I went based on the nature of the case. Code of Federal Regulations, 72.11. All
crimes are
state
commercial.
and federal cases are commercial. So that means the criminal cases are commercial. So that means they're suing you for a violation of the statute. They're not suing you for the battery or the murder. They're not prosecuting you for that. They're suing you for violation of the battery statute or violation of the murder statute. They don't care what you did to that person. You violated the statute, and they're suing you for that. So when I went at them with that, because now they have to show either my liability to state of Indiana or state of Indiana's statutes. They have to show that because this is a civil case. So when I went based on that, they ignored, again, the whole situation where I did not use nationality in it, period. But just because I said that I was a Moor, I always said that. I never denied that. I didn't use it, though. They just went back to that and say, oh, the United States doesn't recognize Moorish nationality and this and that. And they never touched the jurisdictional issue raised. That's how they get out of it. That's why now they can't speak, because now they're implicated in it. Because you've been doing this for decades. There are hundreds of cases out there where even though the arguments that were put forth by some of the brothers, even though those arguments were incorrect or faulty, your whole thing was the United States doesn't recognize Moorish nationality. Oh, the Treaty of Peace, anybody using the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, oh, their case will be found frivolous and dismissed. But they don't get to the issue. Like in my case, I used, I forget the name of the brother. I'm not looking at it right now, but he was trying to get them off of his property taxes. And in that case, I use that as an example. This is the same situation that the Europeans in their false history say that they were trying to escape, the taxation without representation. So now we know that we're not state citizens. That's Dred Scott. The 14th Amendment only gave our ancestors the opportunity to apply for citizenship. There's no record of any of my lineage applying for U.S. citizenship, and I doubt there would be any in any of yours. So that makes us still foreign to the United States. So with that knowledge, they can't answer this. So now I'm trying to put them in a position where eventually it's going to be obvious that they're not answering it. And I can use this as an example to take to the international community to like, look, this is who we are. This is what we're doing. We have all the requirements to be recognized as a nation. They are blocking us intentionally. Now, the first step is just the recognition. We may not be seen as a big nation, but we will be seen. Even as the smallest indigenous tribe, that is just the start. Now we move, because there's 41 million of us. There's 41 million of us. We are way bigger than some small indigenous tribe. If we can come together properly, we become what's happening on the back of that dollar bill, Moors and Masonry. You recognize what's happening on the back of that dollar bill. We go back to that. We'll never go back to the old ways. We're way beyond that. You got technology, time, mentalities, colonialism. We will never, ever, we can never go back to the way it was prior to them. We can never get back to that. But we can separate back to where we were. We can regain our status as separate from them. We can regain some form of autonomy in dealing with our own people and in traveling in our own lands. There was someone that said something about, will we be able to travel in our own lands? I'm paraphrasing that question.
Right, bro. I want you to wrap it up. We like 3:32.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Yeah, let's wrap it up. All right.
I ain't gonna cut you off, but
okay, I'm gonna leave it on this.
Oh.
The world has treaties on vehicle registrations and driver's license. The United States is the only one who takes it to the extreme of the commercial nonsense that they put us through. Oh, you have to have a license to travel. Other nations, they just have to prove that they're able to handle this 1-ton machine safely on the streets. And after that, it's a wrap. They don't have to. In Britain, they only have to register their vehicle once for the life of the vehicle. As long as
Let's wrap it up.
With that,
wrap it up.
I will. I'm gonna let y'all go. Peace and love. Islam.
All right. Yeah. Peace, everyone. Thank y'all for joining us. I want to thank Brother Bandele for this platform. This is part one. This is we're going to be doing this once a month. We're going to do this once a month. We're showing a force of unity. Sister Pecola Cousar ill. We have Brother Menace Ankh ill. Brother Bandele El Amin. Brother Keng Bey. Brother Shem Malachi Bey. Yours truly, Abdullah Talib Mosi Bey. Wanted to have y'all see the level of knowledge base that we're coming from. All right. So till next month. Until next month, part two. Stay tuned. All right. Please like, please subscribe, and look at the other videos that's on this channel. All right. Look at the other videos that's on this channel. Pro Moors. That's right. Go to the Pro Say More videos, y'all. All right, check those out. Please hit that notification button, like and subscribe, please. All right, and please share this video as well as the others. All right. Bring other people to the platform. Thank you, brother. Chief Bandele, thank you very much for this opportunity. All right, take us home, brother Bandele.
All right. I appreciate y'all. Peace and love. Check you on the next video. This is a lot for y'all to chew on, I'm sure. So y'all gonna watch it. And we'll be back for another video. I'll check with y'all later, man. I appreciate everybody. Appreciate all the Moors on the building. Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Islam. Peace and love.
Power in the melanin, she glows. Unified like Malcolm when we close. Pushing through the struggle, yeah, we chose. Solid as a rock, I love it grows. Speaking wisdom just like Dr. Umar knows. Dripping culture in our stance, it shows. On the front lines where that passion roars. Building empires, Kevin Samuels goals. Sitting at the table, he proposed. Melanated love, in America it flows.